Chapter 1079. The exchange meeting officially began. The central hall, which was originally half covered by the exhibits, slowly opened up with the roar of the music, revealing a dazzling array of important exhibits. The central area trembled, and the metal floor cracked open. A booth slowly rose up, and on it stood a blood-red war puppet. It was 10 meters tall, humanoid, and its body was mainly blood-red with a small amount of dark black complementing it, making the entire war puppet look very visually impactful. The most impressive thing about this war puppet was that its left and right giant arms were completely asymmetrical. The left arm was in a clamp shape and the right arm was handless. It felt like a mechanical arm was directly connected to a shield. Moreover, the shield was especially thick, making it look rather strange. On its chest there was a large emblem. Yu Yang recognized that this was the unique Golden Leaf emblem of Golden Leaf City. The emblem invisibly indicated its origin and identity. At this moment, standing below the blood-red war puppet, it was a young man with a face full of smiles and eyes full of arrogance. It was the young master of Golden Leaf City, Kinch, who had just spoken. In this way, he silently announced that he was the designer and maker of the blood-red war puppet, enjoying the adoring and admiring gazes from everyone. Strong Magnetic War Avatar. Is this the Strong Magnetic War Avatar designed by young Master Jinchi? It really is outstanding. In my opinion, even the Jet Beast designed by the 10th son of Silver Maple City's City Lord, Zhonghua, and the Ocean Warrior designed by Captain Cook cannot be mentioned in the same breath as this astonishing magnetic war doll. What a beautiful and bloodthirsty war puppet. Does it have a name? What? It is called King of Blood? As expected of a gold-level war puppet. Only gold-level war puppets are qualified to have the great name King of Blood. A student couldn't help but exclaim when he saw it. It was nothing, but his exclamation was a little too loud, and people who heard it felt it was ear-piercing. The design of the magnetic war puppet simply shocked my soul. I can't help it. I can't help but fall for it the moment I see it. The second person let out a long sigh. If there was anyone familiar with him, they would definitely recognize him as the famous battle puppet master Bo Ta. As Grandmaster Buta spoke, everyone started praising him. The flattery was like a tide. Everyone gave him a thumbs up. It was as if he would appear ignorant if he did not praise the strong magnetic war puppet. Bro, are you guys hired by young City Lord Kinch? Some people really couldn't stand it anymore. Flattery was fine, but it couldn't be so exaggerated. The strong magnetic war puppet is not bad, but it's not necessarily comparable to the Jet Beast and the Ocean Warrior. Someone put forward a different opinion on the spot. The strong magnetic war doll was good, but it had not been tested in actual combat. Captain Cook's Ocean Warrior was a special amphibious war doll. If it wasn't for the short time and imperfect research and development, plus the fact that the Ocean Warrior was defeated on the battlefield by the Revenge Prince designed by Prince Tiandu Ji Wusher, another genius, the Jet Beast designed by Zhonghua would not have been able to suppress the Ocean Warrior and become the runner-up. What heavenly king! What a joke! His Royal Highness the Prince of Tiandu only dared to call his platinum-level war doll Prince, but this young city lord directly called him Heavenly King. He really doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. An admirer of Ji Wuri was angry. This thing is only good for scaring people, but if it was brought to the battlefield, it would probably be blown up by the Jet Beast and the Ocean Warrior. This was a supporter of Zhonghua. It can't be that exaggerated. After all, the strong magnetic war doll is still a gold-level war doll. Some students were cautious. That's right. Although that guy's flattery is disgusting, this strong magnetic war doll is indeed an excellent war doll. Someone shook his head and objected. If you have the guts, compete with the platinum-level Prince of Vengeance, Ji Wuri. Don't, please don't. Our prince will be degraded if you compare him. What he said just now was very clever. He only mentioned the jet beast and the ocean warrior. He never mentioned the Prince of Vengeance. It seems like he doesn't know that the Prince of Tiandu, Ji Wuri, was the champion of the last assessment. He didn't pick a fight, so why are you competing? Everyone, flattery is also a skill. Do you think it's that easy? Ha ha ha, you don't say. As everyone knows, the last assessment ceremony was the most popular in the past 10 years. The three geniuses, Ji Wuri, Zhong Hua, and Captain Cook, returned one after another. Each of them designed a war doll with different styles, characteristics, and directions, which gave us a lot of inspiration and research ideas. Yet, these three geniuses competed together and fought against each other. The battle on the battlefield was really wonderful. The excitement was really indescribable. Those who didn't watch the battle would never be able to imagine the excitement. It was also the most regrettable opportunity of their lives. Speaking of which, this strong magnetic war doll is indeed outstanding. If we compare it to the last assessment, although it inevitably pales in comparison, it will definitely be in the top 5 designs. Kinch has put in a lot of effort. Last time, when he saw Ji Wuri and the others, he didn't participate in the assessment and avoided the spotlight. Now, without the suppression of Ji Wuri and the other two, this strong magnetic war doll will definitely get a good ranking in this assessment. It's not impossible for it to even be the champion. A good-looking aristocrat calmly made a judgment. I'm not happy. How can a guy like Kinch be the champion? If I had known this would happen a year ago, I wouldn't have just gotten the 5th place and graduated. I would have stayed until now to compete with Kinch for the championship. Even until now, that bladed war doll of yours is no match for the strong magnetic war doll. Its strong magnetic ability alone is enough to defeat that clumsy war doll of yours that carries a broadsword and slashes people. Without any ranking, Kinch is already so arrogant. If he wins the championship, won't he look down on us? Hurry up and find a hidden master to trample on Kinch. How can there be so many geniuses? Do you think that every returning wanderer is a genius? Really, geniuses are geniuses because they are rare and precious. For example, the battle between Ji Wuri, Zhong Hua, and Captain Cook is enough to be included in the top 10 newcomer classics of the millennium. Just like Ji Wuri and the others, it's not impossible for them to get into the top 10 classic battles of the millennium in time. Instead of watching these villains being smug here, I might as well go back. I don't have to rely on sucking up to Kinch for a living. Okay, I think so too. It seems that we have something in common. Student, why don't we go for a drink together? Let's go, most of the students in the field left. Most of them recognized the excellence of the strong magnetic war puppet, but they could not accept Kinch's arrogant attitude. Apart from Ji Wuri, the Prince of Tiandu, who had appeared out of nowhere, no one else could subdue their pride. Even Zhong Hua and Captain Cook, who were equally outstanding, could not do so. Only Ji Wuri, who was almost like a god, could truly make them submit to him. On the field, Kinch stood under the strong magnetic war puppet named King of Blood and accepted the congratulations and praises of those who wanted to make friends with him with a smile on his face. In his heart, today's publicity was undoubtedly a success. Although there were still different voices, they were in the minority. Except for those proud and arrogant student representatives, most of the others were willing to come forward to congratulate him and get close to him. He never expected those proud student representatives to worship him like they worshipped Ji Wuri. He knew Ji Wuri. He was a genius who made people despair. He would never be able to catch up with him. But it did not matter. Ji Wuri's enemy would definitely not be him. That kind of person could not be kept in the Human Valley world. Ji Wuri would leave sooner or later. So, Ji Wuri was not the biggest threat at all. Yu Yang stood in the crowd and listened quietly. He collected all kinds of information without batting an eyelid. He even went to the center of the exhibition stand to carefully observe the strong magnetic war puppet. No matter if it was Jin Chi or the Golden Leaf City's officials, they were all very happy for Yu Yang, who did not leave and instead went up to observe the competition. If it wasn't for the fact that Jin Chi was entangled by a group of female fans, Jin Chi would have even lowered himself to shake hands with Yu Yang, giving this pitiful newcomer who was destined to lose the championship a little encouragement. Except for the friends and supporters, there were really not many student representatives who stayed behind to support Kinch's strong magnetic war puppet. When Yu Yang went on stage, Yang Ping, Kinch's friend from Yenyang City, saw him. But he did not stop him. He probably thought that Yu Yang was completely stunned by the strong magnetic war puppet. When Yu Yang went down the stage, he deliberately snorted coldly beside him. "How is it? Country bumpkin, did you piss your pants in fear? This is a war puppet that you will never be able to complete in your lifetime, and it is also a gap that you will never be able to surpass in your lifetime. Can you please speak like a human?" Yu Yang smiled slightly. Have you ever seen a person who was elegant and at ease when scolding someone? That guy's lungs almost exploded from anger. "I don't want to talk to people with chrysanthemums on their faces. Goodbye." Yu Yang maintained his smile, but this smile and words were like a heavy punch, directly knocking the other party over. Yu Yang left the center of the exhibition stand and walked around the many display cabinets in the hall. He generously bought a lot of items. Most of them were minerals, herbs, specialties, and books, especially those ancient books that no one could understand. They were the first target that he bought at a high price. On the contrary, people were most interested in the puppet beasts, war puppets, and various war puppet weapons, armor, and special support items, but they were disdainful. After one round, Yu Yang gained a lot, but there was not much left of the 1,000 Heaven Crystals card that the headmaster had given him. There were only a few dozen left. When Yu Yang was about to step out of the door, there were two people waiting at the door. It was Yenyang City's representative, Yang Ping, who was so angry that he almost vomited blood just now, and his gloomy companion. Yang Ping did not give Yu Yang a chance to refuse. He directly threw a scroll at him. "Coward, if you are still a man, choose me as your opponent during the life assessment ceremony. I will let an arrogant newbie like you, who only has a venomous tongue and nothing else, know what strength is, what face-slapping is, and what knowing one's place is." This scroll was crimson in color, and there was a golden emblem in the middle. Under the emblem, there was a symbol of a sword and a shield. Yu Yang recognized what this was. This was the war scroll that the nobles used to issue a challenge to the other party. This kind of war scroll could only be used after one or both parties applied to the war god's consciousness under the war god's statue and obtained approval. The scroll in Yu Yang's hands required at least 50 heaven crystals to apply for it. Moreover, if Yu Yang did not want to accept the challenge and kept it, it would not be able to be used. If Yu Yang was willing to accept Yang Ping's challenge and open the scroll at any time, then 3 days after opening it, both parties would be sent to a fixed battlefield to fight. Yang Ping lost to Yu Yang in an argument and was furious. He wanted to embarrass Yu Yang at the most important moment during Yu Yang's life assessment ceremony. His sinister intentions could be seen from this. When the time comes, add all your companions. A challenge that has no difficulty at all, it's really boring. Yu Yang couldn't help but yawn. His attitude was like a lazy tiger that was suddenly challenged by a small ant. All right, as you wish. Yenyang City's Yang Ping felt that his intestines were in knot. He did not know how much endurance it took for him to forcefully endure it. Yu Yang left. When he returned to Silver Maple City's exhibition hall, he found 2 people waiting at the entrance. It was the youth in embroidered clothes who called himself Chi Mu and the handsome man called Mingzhu Prince. Chapter 1080. Yu Yang smiled. Seeing his sneaky smile, Chi Mu didn't think much of it, but that Mingzhu Prince glared at him fiercely, as if he was very angry. Seeing that the other person was angrier, Yu Yang's mood became better. At this moment, not only did he not restrain himself, he laughed even more happily. Mingzhu Prince, don't tell me you want to treat me to a meal here? I'm not a casual person. Normal people wouldn't be able to treat me even if they wanted to. But seeing that you're about to cry, I'll be merciful and give you a chance to treat me. According to what you're saying, I should be grateful to you? Mingzhu Prince suddenly had the urge to hit someone. If you're so touched that you can't calm down without doing something, then introduce your sister to me. Yu Yang's face showed that he had reluctantly accepted it. The embroidered-clothed youth looked at him, as if he had seen a ghost. I realized that even if all the shamelessness in this world was added up, it still wouldn't be able to compare to a single finger of yours. Mingzhu Prince sighed, finally convinced. This is one of my strong points. Yu Yang nodded his head in acknowledgement. At the same time, he expressed that he had too many strong points, and that he needed to spend more time with him to slowly discover them. I really don't understand. How could a scoundrel like you develop a holy ranked goose feather pen, and how could you gain the undisguised love of your teacher? Sometimes I feel that even a pig would be more promising than you. At least a pig wouldn't climb to the central exhibition stand to be ridiculed by others. Mingzhu Prince seemed to have already known that Yu Yang was a new student at Silver Maple City's Heaven's Chosen Wanzi School. He even knew that Yu Yang was developing a holy ranked goose feather pen. Student Titan, can you tell us how you came up with the idea of upgrading a goose feather pen to the Saint grade? The youth in embroidered clothes was past his prime, so he was also curious. What's wrong with that? Yu Yang asked without any hesitation. What a magical holy quill pen. It's a good work, but it's a pity that it's worthless. It could even be said that it's a piece of work that looks like gold and jade on the outside, but it's rotten on the inside. Mingzhu Prince spared no effort in attacking Yu Yang. Respecting teachers is the basic standard for every good student. Yu Yang expressed that he was a good student. Student Titan, if you're a good student, then I'm the best student in the world. When the embroidered-clothed youth, Chi Mu, heard this, he couldn't help but ridicule. Whether I'm a good student or not depends on the teacher, okay? Forget about the reward of 1,000 heaven crystals, there wasn't even a word of praise. Please don't pretend to be a good student, okay? Yu Yang looked down on him seriously. Students like the embroidered-clothed youth, Chi Mu, who were arrogant, a little rebellious, and had a very awkward personality, were definitely the kind of students that the teacher hated the most. Obedient students like Mingzhu Prince were the ones that the teacher doted on the most. Hey, I've also been praised by the teacher before. Chi Mu argued with all his might. Although he didn't care about good students, he definitely couldn't let the other party look down on him. Really? Yu Yang didn't deny it directly, but the expression on his face was the kind of doubt that said, how could a student like you get praised by the teacher? Seeing this, Chi Mu almost wanted to kill himself by banging his head on the wall. It did happen once. Even Mingzhu Prince couldn't help but defend Chi Mu. Could it be that there's something wrong with your memory? Yu Yang asked with a little suspicion. I'm quite confident in my memory, Mingzhu Prince said. All right. Yu Yang showed that he believed him. Chi Mu fell head first onto the ground. If there was a crack on the ground, he would immediately crawl into it and hide there for 100 years without coming out. It was too much of a blow to him. The worst thing was that Mingzhu had unintentionally cooperated with the other party to step on him. He was so sad that he wanted to cry, but no tears came out. As they spoke, a few old men walked over from afar. They were the principal and his friends. Among them was an old man with snow-white hair and beard. He looked otherworldly, as if he was going to fly away with the wind at any moment. His appearance was somewhat similar to the 1,000-year great sage, especially his sage aura that was as wise as the ocean due to his grasp of knowledge. The old men treated him as their leader, and even the principal did the same. A semicircle surrounded the old man with the snow-white beard, They chatted and laughed as they walked over. That old man with the snow-white beard, upon seeing Yu Yang, Qi Mu and Mingzhu Prince standing at the entrance of the Silver Maple Exhibition Hall, he immediately revealed a smile. "Just nice, I wanted to have a chat with you guys, it's great that you guys are here." Qi Mu and Mingzhu Prince immediately bowed and greeted him as President. Needless to say, Yu Yang knew that this old man with the snow-white beard was the leader of all the Heaven's Chosen schools in this generation, and the president of the Heaven's Chosen Wandering Child Society. What was the old man's original name? Because it was too long ago, after 20,000 years, other than his friends and relatives of the same age, no one else knew. However, one thing was for sure. Ever since the human valley of the trial grounds was created by the ancient gods, the Heaven's Chosen Wandering Child School had existed. The first president who created the Heaven's Chosen Wandering Child School was called the Heaven's Chosen Old Man. After that, every president would inherit this name and be called the Heaven's Chosen President, to show that they did not forget the ancestors' unparalleled glory and the original intention of creating the Heaven's Chosen Wandering Child School. "You must be that interesting student Tai Tan? I've heard of you. Although you're young, the way you do things is quite interesting." The Heaven's Chosen President with the snow-white beard patted Yu Yang's shoulder and laughed. "All this while, I thought that there would never be a wanderer who could surpass your mother. I didn't expect that she had a son who was just as outstanding as her. Compared to my mother, I'm still lacking a lot." Yu Yang's current performance was really like a good student. Other than being refined and courteous, he was also very modest. "Keep pretending." Mingzhu Prince couldn't help but roll his eyes, but he didn't dare to say it out loud. "There's a bit of a gap, but your mother's ambition isn't here. She has a higher goal. Maybe she came here to guide you, her precious son, on the right path. Maybe she just wanted to come here to verify her understanding. Who knows? No matter what, since you're here, you must work hard. It's best if you surpass your mother and obtain all the achievements." The Heaven's Chosen President paused for a while, then laughed. "The holy ranked goose feather pen that you developed and created is very creative. If it can be used on puppets and battle dolls, it would be even more perfect." "I will work hard." Yu Yang was secretly happy. This time, he had obtained a lot of information about his mother. "Haha, I'm looking forward to your performance in the life assessment ceremony. Qi Mu and Mingzhu, you guys also have to work hard. Although you're not newbies, successfully graduating is just the beginning. I have high hopes for you guys, so you guys can't relax." The Heaven's Chosen President also encouraged Qi Mu and Mingzhu Prince a little. Mingzhu Prince was still alright. Although he was moved, he didn't lose his composure. However, Qi Mu's eyes reddened. He was so moved that he almost cried on the spot. "Yes." Qi Mu bowed deeply. When he straightened his back, the Heaven's Chosen President had already entered the Silver Maple Exhibition Hall with a few elders to discuss. Yu Yang was still alright just now. He acted respectfully in front of the teachers, acting like he was the most obedient child. However, after the Heaven's Chosen President and the principal left, he returned to normal. Mingzhu Prince shook his head helplessly. This fellow was too cunning. He cheated people to death without paying with his life. Thinking back, the Heaven's Chosen President seemed to value this swindler the most. He felt a little gloomy and couldn't help but say, "Student Tai Tan, have you ever thought of changing that holy ranked goose feather pen that you're still researching into a battle doll? It's impossible for it to go to the battlefield, but it might be a good idea to change it into a scribe in the library. What do you think?" Yu Yang shook his head and waved his hands. "I won't do that kind of senseless action. The holy ranked goose feather pen is obviously in the hands of a beauty. A cold battle doll that can't be seen or eaten, what's the use of it? Think about it, a naked beauty with only a holy ranked goose feather pen would sit in front of you and concentrate on copying. Facing your constant harassment, she wouldn't be able to resist. Because if she couldn't complete her task, wouldn't you have a reason to spank her little butt? That's why I say this kind of life is a truly happy life. Battle dolls and whatnot are just fleeting clouds. Get lost. When this pervert theory came out, Chi-Mu agreed with it 100%. However, he was intimidated by Mingzhu Prince's attitude, so he could only pretend to be mute. The expression on Mingzhu Prince's face was one of "I knew you would answer like this" disdainfully. The saints have said, appetite and lust are part of human nature. Mingzhu Prince, do you dare to say that your heart wouldn't palpitate when you see a beauty's panties? Yu Yang moved closer to Mingzhu Prince and expressed his fear openly, as if Mingzhu Prince would be a sinner who would be hated by the gods if he didn't admit it. Move your head. No matter how good Mingzhu Prince's manners were, he couldn't suppress the anger in his heart. You're amazing. This was the first time Chi-Mu saw someone who dared to talk to Mingzhu Prince like this. He really admired him from the bottom of his heart. Shut up. Mingzhu Prince was very angry. I'm mute. Chi-Mu was so scared that he quickly covered his mouth. I understand now. Yu Yang slapped his thigh, pointed at Mingzhu Prince and laughed. I completely understand now. You are a virgin and have never tasted the taste of a woman. You don't understand the beauty of a woman's gentleness. That's why you only fantasize about it in the depth of your heart. You're curious, but you're too embarrassed to say it. That must be the case. Actually, Mingzhu Prince, you don't have to be embarrassed. I was like that in the past too. However, after I got rid of the pitiful title of a virgin, I immediately became a great husband. How about this? I'll suffer a little. I'll invite you to have a threesome with two beauties. We'll work together to destroy your virginity. This brat dared to talk to Mingzhu Prince like this? Oh my God! Chi-Mu's hand was so shocked that he didn't know when it had slipped down. His overly shocked mouth opened so wide that a toad could easily be stuffed inside. Mingzhu Prince's originally gentle face had turned black. He had never been so angry in his life, especially when Yu Yang's rude words of "destroy your virginity" resounded in his mind. His last bit of rationality was instantly destroyed. Do you have anything else to say? Mingzhu Prince decided to give this brat a chance to say his last word. Wait until you've tasted the taste of a woman and understand what it means to be a man. Then you'll be grateful to me. Yu Yang was very pleased with himself. He had an expression that said "don't be too touched" on his face. Anything else? Mingzhu Prince was now impressed with his own endurance. Although I don't make friends easily, but since you look pleasing to my eyes, I've decided to teach you a few moves. As a virgin, there are definitely many things that you don't know. I can tell you that if I don't teach you, you won't even be able to take off a beauty's underwear. Let me tell you, it's definitely a very profound knowledge. It's very practical. Only those who have a lot of skills, such as an unparalleled expert like me, won't fail. Yu Yang almost revealed his combat power in bed. Can you not talk about that damned underwear? Mingzhu Prince felt that this was the only thing this person could say in his last word. What's wrong with underwear? When it's needed, it can even save the world and protect the world's peace and justice. Yu Yang spread his hands. Alright, student, you know too little. Really? How did underwear save the world? How did it protect the world's peace and justice? Chi-Mu couldn't hold it in anymore. His curiosity exploded. It's a long story. There are at least 10 different historical legends from different eras that have recorded this legend before. Yu Yang said, pretending to be serious. Quick, tell me. Chi-Mu completely ignored Mingzhu Prince's murderous gaze. I'm hungry. Yu Yang's stomach was rumbling. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go eat. Chi-Mu couldn't wait to hear how underwear saved the world. I don't have money. Yu Yang rummaged through his pockets. He was really poor. He didn't even have a single crystal fragment, let alone a sky crystal. What's so difficult about that? It's my treat. In order to hear the story of underwear saving the world, Chi Mu decided to spend money to treat Yu Yang to the best dishes. Money wasn't a problem at all. As long as there was a story to listen to, it wouldn't be a problem to treat him to 10 meals. I'm not used to being treated to a meal, especially when the other party's attitude doesn't seem to be very sincere. Yu Yang coughed slightly. Please give me this chance. Chi Mu bowed deeply. His attitude was even better than when he bowed to the president of the genius sect. Alright. Yu Yang felt that it wasn't easy for Chi Mu, so he reluctantly agreed. Don't treat me as if I don't exist. Before Mingzhu Prince could finish his sentence, a huge hammer appeared out of nowhere. He raised it up high and smashed Yu Yang onto the ground in anger. Chi Mu wanted to escape, but who would have thought that the huge hammer would sweep horizontally? Chi Mu was like a fly that had been slapped to death. He was directly smashed into the wall, turning into the character, which was too horrible to look at. The earth-shattering tremor shook the entire Silver Maple exhibition hall for a while. The elders on the second floor all poked their heads out from the windows. They saw that Mingzhu Prince, who was carrying a huge hammer, was dragging Yu Yang, as if he was going to throw him away like trash. And when he fell from the wall, he was 90% dead, and his calf was cramping. Before he could even catch his breath, a cute cat-shaped puppet beast bit down on his pants and dragged him to chase after his master, young Master Mingzhu, who was gradually getting further and further away. Sigh, it's good to be young. The president of the genius sect laughed and waved his hands. We don't care about the matters of the young. Let's continue drinking. I just happened to have a bottle of Qi-Lan wine. Chapter 1081. In the small tavern, Yu Yang and Chi Mu were like criminals, sitting opposite Mingzhu Prince. They couldn't resist even if they wanted to. As long as they saw the sledgehammer that could kill everything in an instant, no one could muster up any courage. What is that sledgehammer made of? Yu Yang secretly touched Chi Mu, who was pretending to be honest. According to the rules of the human valley, no one could use weapons, let alone violence. However, Yu Yang felt that this sledgehammer was personally controlled by Mingzhu Prince. Although her power wasn't added, it was indeed controlled according to her will, and not the puppet beast's uncontrollable attacks. My mystic armor, Chi Mu quietly replied, using a telepathic message. What's a secret armor? Yu Yang asked. I don't know either. It was developed by Mingzhu Prince alone. It is said that he used the ancient, magical liquid gold secret technique. When that secret armor was born, it automatically received the recognition of the human valley's rules. Of course, only the master can use it. Chi Mu expressed that this sledgehammer was awesome, it was a great killing weapon. Magical liquid gold secret technique? Yu Yang's heart moved. He had heard of this term before, but because of the limited conditions, Yu Yang had never come into contact with magical liquid gold. Magical liquid gold was similar to divine molten meteorite gold, but there were more differences. There were similarities between the two. It was because both of them had liquid metal in the beginning. The difference was that magical liquid gold could revert back to its original form after molding. In other words, it could revert from a finished product to a liquid state, but divine molten meteorite gold couldn't. The biggest difference between the two was that once divine molten meteorite gold was formed, it would be in existence of absolute high quality. If the created object didn't have consciousness, it was very likely that it would automatically develop consciousness. After all, divine molten meteorite gold was the world's most perfect energy metal, infinitely close to the quality of a divine equipment. Divine molten meteorite gold was actually a liquid formed from the fusion of divine equipment fragments or super strong treasures. It was 1 in a million. Compared to the highest quality divine molten meteorite gold, magical liquid gold was much inferior. It was divided into high and low quality. Low-grade magical energy liquid gold could only be used to create low-grade items, and could only be used as a repairing fluid for certain treasures. Even the highest grade magical energy liquid gold in the world was far from being comparable to divine molten meteorite gold. The difference between the two was like the difference between brass and gold. Of course, even if it was inferior to the divine molten meteorite gold, the magical energy liquid gold was still an extremely rare existence. Yu Yang had obtained the divine molten meteorite gold by chance, but he had lived in the Tong Tian Tower and the Heaven Realm for a long time, so he had never obtained this kind of magical liquid gold. He had only heard of its name before. Two grown men whispering in each other's ears, "Is there any meaning to it?" Mingzhu Prince ordered some food and wine for Yu Yang and Qi Mu, but he didn't order any wine. Instead, he ordered a glass of fruit juice and sipped it leisurely. At the same time, he warned Yu Yang and Qi Mu to speak louder and not to keep anything to themselves. "We are praising Mingzhu Prince's generosity. If you treat us to a foot massage after we are full, that would be the best." Yu Yang sighed in satisfaction. "Do you think that's possible?" Mingzhu Prince stretched out his hand towards the big hammer. "I suddenly realized that if we obediently go back and rest after we are full, that's not bad either. Sleeping early and waking up early is in line with the way of maintaining good health." Yu Yang was also sweating profusely. "That's right, we need to maintain good health. Sleeping early and waking up early." Qi Mu was so scared that even his legs started to tremble. He had probably been hit by that big hammer many times on a daily basis, and it had already left a shadow in his heart. It couldn't be helped. The power that this big hammer displayed in the human valley was even more ferocious than a divine-ranked weapon, even though it was only a gold-ranked hammer. "Why don't we exchange?" After Mingzhu Prince threatened Yu Yang, he suddenly made a suggestion. "I will use the magic liquid gold secret technique to exchange with you for the holy-ranked goose feather pen's creation technique." "Alright, that would be the best. Everyone will be happy." Qi Mu used his hand to touch Yu Yang, hinting him to quickly reply. "I'm sorry." Yu Yang rejected him flatly. "You idiot." Qi Mu was stunned at first. His eyes widened as if he had seen a Martian appear on the streets of Earth. In the end, when he saw that Yu Yang didn't look like he was joking, he immediately deflated like a balloon and sighed regretfully. From Qi Mu's point of view, Mingzhu Prince's magic liquid gold secret technique was a priceless treasure. Anyone who obtained it would have a gold-ranked secret armor puppet that could attack and defend at any time. Although this secret armor puppet wasn't as flashy as other gold-ranked battle puppets, its battle power was definitely not inferior to any of them. This included Zhong Hua's Jet Beast, Captain Cook's Ocean Warrior, and even Ji Wuri's Prince of Vengeance. They might not be able to suppress this secret armor puppet. Can you tell me why? Mingzhu Prince wasn't surprised. He only wanted to know the reason why Yu Yang refused to exchange. It's very simple. I also know your magic liquid gold secret technique. It's just that I don't have enough materials. As for my holy ranked quill making technique, other than me, no one else can research and develop it. Even if I tell you or reveal it to everyone in Human Valley, no one would be able to learn it. Yu Yang explained. You sure have enough confidence. Mingzhu Prince heard Yu Yang's arrogant words, but he wasn't angry. Can a small quill really reach holy ranked? Furthermore, is there a need to raise it to holy ranked? Whenever Qi Mu thought of this, his balls would hurt inexplicably. No matter how talented you are, you can't waste it like this, right? Even if you want to waste it, you can't waste it on this worthless quill. If this holy ranked quill making technique was used on war dolls or puppet beasts, that young city master Kinch, who was smiling proudly like a chrysanthemum, would have to kneel on the spot. Holy ranked, other than those freakishly powerful people in history, such as Conquest Queen Fei Wenli or Prison Emperor Zhan Feng. Other than these powerful people, who else could create holy ranked war dolls? In this world, any kind of holy ranked could appear. Beasts, weapons, treasures, anything was possible. However, puppets of war, which had neither intelligence nor soul sense, were the most difficult for them to reach the sage level. Puppets of war couldn't be upgraded. They had to be gifted with soul sense as soon as they were manufactured. Otherwise, they would have reached the sage level. How difficult was that? The Revenge Prince war dolls that the almost godlike Ji Wuri had painstakingly created was only platinum ranked. Platinum ranked and holy ranked were like heaven and earth. The difficulty of upgrading from platinum ranked to holy ranked was probably 10,000 times harder than crossing the heavenly moat that could never be crossed. If President Tianjiao didn't personally say that Yu Yang had the ability to create a holy ranked quill, Qi Mu wouldn't have completely believed it. To bestow a quill that had no quality level with consciousness and raise it to holy rank. Just thinking about it was enough to make one shudder in fear. This was a miracle that only a god could do. Other than this, there was no other explanation. It's very simple for me, but for you, you might not be able to find anything even if you study it for a lifetime. Yu Yang smiled. He really couldn't pass on this. Without the heaven eyes divine vision that could see through everything, without the creation domain, without the creation god pearl, without the overflowing chaotic energy, without the mastery of the minor rules, without the inheritance of knowledge, without the core energy inheritance of the ancient rune sky formation, without the foundation laid by the puppet grimoire left behind by Yu Gong, without the design of the war dolls recorded in the two ancient golden coffins, without the earth, divine weapon Tao Tai and Star Scorpio that slowly improved their foundations, no matter how monstrous Yu Yang was, he wouldn't be able to pick up a quill and raise it to holy rank. It could be said that Yu Yang's previous experience and personal talent determined everything he created. Not a single thing that he possessed could be missing. Another person, for example, Qi Mu or Mingzhu Prince, couldn't copy Yu Yang. You don't need to care if I can master it or not, you just need to show me the manufacturing process in detail. Alright, let's work together. We can work together. You can use the secret method to create a holy ranked quill. I will provide the materials for the magical energy liquid gold and some necessary help. We can work together to create a holy ranked secret armor. How about it? Mingzhu Prince was actually very interested in creating a holy ranked war doll. Work together? If we want to create a holy ranked war doll, we might need a lot of magical energy liquid gold. Yu Yang felt that this cooperation would benefit both parties. For him who was anxious to obtain rare materials, it was like a timely spring rain. Don't worry about the magical energy liquid gold. It's hard to say if it can reach gold ranked, but you can get as many bronze ranked and silver ranked as you want. To be honest, low-grade magical energy liquid gold can be obtained through concocting. I, young master, am one who is proficient in concocting it. Mingzhu Prince took out a paper fan out of nowhere and opened it. Seeing Yu Yang's surprised gaze, Mingzhu Prince felt that the anger and unhappiness in his heart was swept away. It was as if he had drunk a cool drink on a hot summer day. That's great. Yu Yang held Mingzhu Prince's hand tightly and shook it with all his might. He was so excited that he forgot to let go. You think so too? Mingzhu Prince looked at Qi Mu. I'm blind, I didn't see anything. Qi Mu cursed inwardly. Every time Mingzhu Prince revealed this kind of smile, it was the beginning of a disaster. He hurriedly acted dumb. Unfortunately, it was too late. In the next second, Mingzhu Prince, who had picked up the sledgehammer, smashed him and Yu Yang to the ground. Bastard, since we've decided to cooperate, it's fine if you don't drink together, but you actually used that sledgehammer? Yu Yang covered the big bump on his head and raged. I couldn't help it. Mingzhu Prince apologized without thinking twice. I'll fight you to the death. Yu Yang jumped up and pounced towards Mingzhu Prince like a tiger, using the legendary wave-grabbing dragon claw hand. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The golden sledgehammer once again smashed down with an unstoppable force. It directly smashed Yu Yang into the ground. Mingzhu Prince sat there lazily, his sitting posture not moving at all. Only his left hand was casually spinning the golden sledgehammer that weighed an unknown amount. Chi Mu, who was hiding in the corner, was so scared that he was sweating profusely. He raised both of his hands, expressing his surrender, deeply afraid that Mingzhu Prince would also smash his head with his sledgehammer. After deciding to cooperate, Mingzhu Prince's attitude towards Yu Yang finally improved a little. If Yu Yang didn't use Lord Wei's legendary ultimate move, the golden sledgehammer in Mingzhu Prince's hands wouldn't hit his head so easily. First, you have to become the champion of the newcomer evaluation ceremony. With a noble title and territory, we can only have the possibility of catching up to Ji Wuri. Mingzhu Prince introduced to Yu Yang. Let's not talk about Ji Wuri for now, he's not someone you can deal with now. Let's first focus on the newcomer champion. On the surface, it doesn't seem too difficult, but if you think that Kinch's strong magnetic war puppet is the best war puppet, then you are gravely mistaken. Maybe you still don't know, but there are also reincarnators called Wan Mo and Burning Wind who entered at the same time as Ji Wuri. They are both temple masters of the central shrine, and they are loyal allies of Ji Wuri. In order to avoid a conflict with Ji Wuri's quota and increase their competitiveness, they have prepared the Flesh War Puppet and Inferno War Puppet to stay in the life evaluation ceremony and fight for the second championship. Flesh War Puppet and Inferno War Puppet? Yu Yang frowned slightly when he heard this. Inferno War Puppet is actually a ball of fire, but I don't understand how it was determined to be a puppet war puppet. Chi Mu indicated that he had seen the finished Inferno War Puppet. It should be an elemental war puppet, but they probably added some controllable puppet skeletons. Our intelligence is not good enough. However, we have intelligence on the Flesh War Puppet made by Wan Mo. It's a kind of puppet embedded in a body of flesh and blood. Although it can't borrow the power of a human body, with the control of a human body, the combat power of the Flesh War Puppet is probably more than 10 times that of a person of the same level. In terms of control and combat power, the Flesh War Puppet is probably not weaker than my secret armor, and the Flesh War Puppet can be mass-produced. When Mingzhu Prince mentioned the Flesh War Puppet, he couldn't help but show a look of disgust on his handsome face, as if he was disgusted by this bloody and cruel human puppet embedding technique. Apart from the Flesh War Puppet and Inferno War Puppet, are there any other war puppets worth paying attention to? Yu Yang pondered for a while and suddenly asked. There are several kinds of war puppets, and they all have their own characteristic. The information is still being collected. I'll give you a copy later. Chi Mu told Yu Yang that in fact, after Ji Wuri won the last tournament overwhelmingly, there were many people who wanted to be the champion. The descendants of several hidden clans were interested in participating in the competition. There's too little time left for me, Yu Yang sighed softly. Fortunately, he didn't reveal his trump card, and he had the help of Zhonghua, Chi Mu, and Mingzhu Prince. He even had the support of Rintianga, the great sage silver pupil, and other allies in the same batch. He should be able to make a name for himself in this battle. It was just that the time was a little short, because once he made a name for himself, his enemies would pay 100 times more attention to him. By then, he would be able to do research quietly like he was doing now. He was afraid that it was not possible, especially someone like Ji Wuri who had a strong sense of danger. Once he discovered the rise of Yu Yang, it was inevitable that he would attack him. Old age and young Master Mingzhu didn't know that Yu Yang was really researching and developing the epic-making flying puppet and transforming puppet, these super abnormal peak-level projects, so they were a little worried for him. If the time of their cooperation was pushed back to when Yu Yang had just entered the Human Valley, then with the success of developing the Saint-Tier magical liquid gold secret armor, it would be natural for him to win the life assessment ceremony. But now, almost 2 months had passed, and there was only 1 month left. How could he make it in time? Chi Mu scratched his ears and cheeks for a long time, but in the end, he still could not think of a good solution. Mingzhu Prince frowned slightly and suddenly smiled. I've got an idea. Although I don't know if it will work, it's definitely worth a try. Chapter 1082. No one knew what Yu Yang, Mingzhu Prince and the light bulb Qi Mu were discussing in the tavern. No one realized that the future of Human Valley would change because of this. Mingzhu Prince and Qi Mu left on the same day. Yu Yang stayed for 3 days and bought a lot of local products before returning to Silver Maple City's Heaven's Chosen Wandering School with the principal. Before leaving, Yang Ping and his companions from Yenyang City came to look for Yu Yang and taunted Yu Yang. They wanted to provoke Yu Yang into challenging him in the assessment ceremony in a month's time. All right, as you wish. Yu Yang was like a big sleepy tiger seeing 2 little mice clamoring for a duel. Can't they stop fighting? Back in Silver Maple City, Yu Yang had a rare 2 days of rest. Teacher O Meng and Teacher Wu Pu were progressing smoothly. The principal felt that it was fine now, but time would be tight in the future. He couldn't let Yu Yang, his favorite student, be tired no matter what. Hence, he gave him 3 days off to relieve the fatigue from the long journey. The principal was most afraid that Yu Yang would not have enough rest and would not be able to face the newcomer life assessment ceremony in his best condition. Champion. This was the honor that the principal longed for the most. Even though he had seen Kinch's magnetic war doll at the Golden Leaf City Exchange, the principal was still very confident in his own flying war doll. The magnetic war doll was just a war doll, but the flying war doll was a completely new way of fighting and development. There was no need to compare the two to know which was the way to success. Moreover, how could the Silver Maple's Heaven's Chosen Wandering School be as simple as an ordinary flying war doll? Scouting type, combat type, and assault type. Any one of them would make the current ruler of Human Valley tremble. Another 2 days passed. Outside of Silver Maple City, the good and obedient student Yu Yang had specially applied for a leave of absence today to welcome Mingzhu Prince and Twilight Prince, who had come for a learning exchange. If it wasn't for Yu Yang's explanation, the principal would have suspected that the 2 young masters were here to steal the flying puppet technology. But after Yu Yang's explanation, the headmaster immediately became happy. With the support of Gemstone Valley's Mingzhu Prince and Silvermoon City's Twilight Prince, his most prized pupil, Little Titan, would definitely become the newcomer champion. It must be known that not only were these 2 young masters outstanding, but the forces behind them were also incomparably strong. They were the overlords of the Human Valley, and neither of them was inferior to the city master of Silver Maple City. In fact, they might even surpass him. Most importantly, Yu Yang made it clear. Mingzhu Prince and Twilight Prince didn't come for the flying puppet, but for another type of puppet that he was working with. Magical liquid gold. Upper, middle, and lower quality. I've already prepared all 3. It's all up to you now. Mingzhu Prince didn't come with a big fanfare, but secretly went to Silver Maple City. Qi Mu, who had arrived earlier, had already bought a small garden on the outskirts of Silver Maple City with a large sum of money as a secret research base for the 3 of them. Dozens of fully loaded trucks disguised as a merchant group followed young Master Mingzhu. They were filled with all kinds of planned resources. Of course, rare items like the magical liquid gold were still carried by Mingzhu Prince in his storage ring. Mingzhu Prince had spent a lot of time to convince the elders in his family. After all, it was impossible for the elders to not ask about the large amount of magical liquid gold that had been transferred from the valley. This was also the reason why Mingzhu Prince was 2 days late. I've completed the blueprints and I've exceeded them. The original plan was to have 3 types, but I've completed 5 now. There are no problems with the runes either. It's completely feasible after testing. Yu Yang looked at Mingzhu Prince, his eyes filled with confidence. He smiled. Now, there's only one last step left, and that is to create the finished product. As he spoke, he passed the blueprints to Mingzhu Prince and Qi Mu for them to see. Mingzhu Prince was fine. He was already mentally prepared. Mu, on the other hand, was shocked beyond words. He snatched the blueprints and looked at them for a long time, his eyes wide like a bull's. Impossible. It's clearly something that can't be realized. How can it be designed? Oh my God, what's your brain made of? Can you open it and let me take a look? From the looks of it, it really seems possible. I'm not dreaming, am I? Alright, I admit that I was skeptical before and didn't think much of it. How would I know that you have such a monstrous brain? Wait a minute, what does this mean? How is the work I'm in charge of physical labor? Are you looking down on my intelligence? Let me tell you, there's nothing wrong with my intelligence. If you don't give me some mental work, I'll get angry with you. At the end, Mu realized that his job was actually to move the materials according to Yu Yang's instructions. He immediately became anxious. He knew that he couldn't be of much help, but he was definitely not satisfied with moving things. If all of the things designed on these blueprints were to be realized, it would definitely be a major event that would shake the entire human valley and leave its name in the annals of history. After all, they couldn't record it down in the history books. In a certain year, the Twilight Prince did his best to move the materials, and with his selfless dedication, Baron Titan finally completed an unprecedented feat. No matter what, this servant's work couldn't be recorded in the annals of history. His identity had to be one of the three giants of research and development, and not a pitiful bento boy passing by. Mu almost shouted, "If you don't let me help, I'll cause trouble." In the end, Yu Yang was left with no choice. He could only assign a part of his work to Mu, the highly intelligent Twilight Prince. He agreed to Mu's request to join the three research giants. Mingzhu Prince didn't object, but he curled his lips in disdain. "Xiaomu, you have to do what you can. If you don't listen, fine. If you can't complete your task and affect the whole plan, you'll be a sinner for all eternity." If I can't complete it, I can commit suicide. In order to prove that his intelligence was not a problem, Mu made a military pledge. "That's not necessary, we understand." Yu Yang expressed his understanding. He almost comforted Mu by saying, "It's not your fault that your intelligence is not high enough." Mu was depressed. Speaking of intelligence, if he didn't meet the two abnormal people, Yu Yang and Mingzhu Prince, if he met another abnormal person, such as the fourth son of Golden Leaf City, Qinch, or Yenyang City's Yang Ping, or even Yang Ping's brother, Prince Yang Quan, Mu would have a sense of superiority in terms of intelligence. However, when he met Yu Yang and Mingzhu Prince, whose intelligence was more abnormal than the other, he had no choice but to lower his head. But this didn't mean that he was not intelligent enough. He was obviously very intelligent, so how could he be reduced to a pitiful retard? Mu swore in his heart. No matter what, he had to fight for himself and prove his intelligence. He really wasn't a person with low intelligence. Next, using the magical liquid gold and starting the production was definitely a nightmare that Mu wouldn't be able to get rid of for the rest of his life. This was because Mingzhu Prince had completed the task in the stipulated time and had the spare energy to supervise his progress. As for Yu Yang, the lazy bum, well, he had never done any work before. He only spent a few minutes to finish the task that Mu couldn't finish in a few days. Moreover, he did it perfectly. It was so perfect that he wanted to smash his head against the wall and never live again. Impossible, this isn't scientific. Mu had never seen such an abnormal person in his life. He was obviously a lazy bum, so how could he finish the difficult and unbelievable task in an instant? One must know that Yu Yang was in charge of the most difficult part of the whole plan. However, not only did he finish it easily, he even finished the outer part that Mu couldn't finish after delaying for a few days. In the end, he even apologized and said that he had finished it by accident. Damn it, what kind of accident was this? How could there be so many accidents in this world? This was basically a slap to the face. You still dare to say that if you didn't insist on snatching the work, we could have finished it a day ago. It's all because of you, you idiot, that we wasted a whole day. Mingzhu Prince picked up the golden hammer angrily. We must be united, unity is strength. We must love each other. Yu Yang hurriedly grabbed Mingzhu Prince's hand. Love each other? Qi Mu felt that these words sounded a little awkward. Bastard, dig the pits immediately. How long are you going to stay here in a daze? Mingzhu Prince shook off Yu Yang's hand, but he unconsciously used Yu Yang's unique words. Upon hearing that they were digging pits, Qi Mu hurriedly rolled up his sleeves, expressing that he was an expert at digging pits, so please leave the work to him. Right now, Qi Mu had already given up on proving his intelligence in front of Mingzhu Prince and Yu Yang, these two abnormal people. All right, he shouldn't do this kind of strenuous, unrewarding, and soul-crushing stupid thing too much. Very quickly, Qi Mu dug 10 pits in the courtyard of the small manor. This was not burying people. It was not planting trees on Arbor Day either. This was planting puppet war dolls. Mingzhu Prince immediately took action, placing sufficient energy crystals and supplementary materials in every pit. The last step was left to Yu Yang to complete. He dripped magical energy liquid gold of varying quality into every pit, and also drew incomparably complicated rune patterns of various sizes in every pit. Just like the sun rising from the ground, in every pit there was a small sun that appeared, emitting a soft light. At first, it was not dazzling, but very quickly the light became more and more dazzling, and in the end, it was so intense that one could not look at it directly. Qi Mu could only use his hand to block the golden light in front of his eyes. He really wanted to watch the whole process, but unfortunately, his eyes could not bear the light, and could only regretfully wait for the light to fade. When the light faded slightly, he noticed that Mingzhu Prince and Yu Yang were both wearing a pair of black crystal sunglasses on the bridge of their noses. In the strong light, they calmly watched the whole process, and instantly became furious. This is too much, you guys still talk about the big three, why don't I have this thing? Yu Yang laughed. Didn't I ask you just now, but you refused? I thought you had the ability to look at strong light directly. Qi Mu almost slapped himself in the face. Just now, Yu Yang did ask for help, but at that time, he was eager to prove his ability, so he said no and directly refused his kindness. God knew that it was a special kind of sunglasses, and he thought that Yu Yang was deliberately making fun of him. What a waste of a treasure! He hurriedly snatched the sunglasses from Yu Yang's face and put them on his nose, feeling much better. At this moment, the light had almost disappeared. Only vague golden light was left in the pit. The ground was shaking violently, as if something was about to break out of every pit. A puppet arm dug out of the soil, and then another puppet arm dug out of the pit. The soil cracked and collapsed, and an enormous gold-level puppet of war shook its body and forced its way out of the soil. Not only this pit, but the same thing was happening in the other 9 pits. 10 puppets of different shapes, sizes, levels, and combat abilities dug out of the pits one after another. When the last puppet of war also dug out of the ground, all the puppets moved together. They stepped forward, like a group of knights pledging their loyalty to the king. They knelt down on one knee. They knelt down neatly in front of Yu Yang, Mingzhu Prince, and the dumbfounded Qi Mu. This is not scientific. Late Twilight couldn't help but complain again. He had seen inconceivable things before, but he had never seen such an inconceivable thing. Other people had to work so hard to create war dolls, sweat and tears, but this student Titan was different. He was directly planted in a pit. If this went on, would those puppet masters in the human valley still have a way out? Would those arrogant young masters on the battlefield still have their lives? This thing was not a carrot. How could it be planted in a pit? If it was impossible, it was created by him, one of the 3 giants. When did he have such great ability? Sure enough, he was a genius. Qi Mu couldn't find the answer no matter how he thought about it. He had no choice but to believe that he was an invisible genius that even he didn't realize. Chapter 1083. 10 puppet dolls knelt on one knee in front of him. Among them, 3 of them were gold-ranked. Their battle prowess was not inferior to the gold-ranked puppet setting sun that Chi-Mu had now. However, he knew that his setting sun was a golden battle puppet that Silvermoon City had poured in all its resources and gathered all the master puppeteers to work together. It had taken them a whole year to complete. As for the 3 golden battle puppets in front of him, it had not been more than 10 days since they were conceived and designed. Most importantly, these 3 golden battle puppets were planted on the ground, and there was not the slightest bit of mechanical manufacturing at all. The time spent was only on the design and preparation of the materials. With this manufacturing speed and with sufficient materials, it would take less than half a day to create tens to hundreds of gold-ranked puppet dolls and hundreds to thousands of silver-ranked puppet dolls. The 10 puppet dolls kneeling in front of their master were all bronze-ranked puppet dolls. Even the lowest level was a silver-ranked puppet dolls. This was like a god creating something, not a human. It's a pity that there are no platinum-ranked ones. Yu Yang sighed slightly, as if he was dissatisfied with the result in front of him. When Chi-Mu heard this, he almost wanted to strangle this greedy fellow to death. 3 gold-ranked puppet dolls were born from the ground with just a simple planting. What else do you want? Platinum-ranked? Ji Wuri, a person who was considered to be the closest to God, used 3 months to create a vengeful prince with the full support of His Majesty the Emperor. Did you really think that platinum-ranked puppet dolls were cabbages? That you could plant as many as you wanted? Forget about platinum rank. Now that there are gold-ranked puppet dolls, it's already a huge success. Chi-Mu felt proud. He was one of the 3 great leaders who participated in creating such a miracle. His name was destined to go down in history. He just didn't know how the history books would praise him. Not bad, I want the one in the middle. Mingzhu Prince also felt that creating 3 gold-ranked puppet dolls at once had already exceeded his expectations. The original plan was to create only 1 gold-ranked puppet. Now there were 3 of them. Of course, it was a surprise that exceeded his expectations. As his first success, Mingzhu Prince decided to get a golden battle puppet as a souvenir. Moreover, this golden battle puppet was the one that required the most materials, and it was also the one that took the most effort. Now that he got it, it could be considered as a reward for his efforts. Chi-Mu panicked and quickly said, "Then I want the left one." "No, I still want the right one." "Wait, you said you want that? Isn't the one on the right better?" "I think it looks better than the one on the left." "Is the one on the left better?" "Hey, don't lie to me. I trust people very easily. Tell me the truth." "Alright, I want the golden battle puppet on the left. The more I look at it, the more I find it pleasing to the eye. The more I look at it, the more beautiful it becomes. No wonder it was chosen by my sharp eagle eyes. It's too powerful." Yu Yang handed him a golden battle avatar bracelet and finally stopped Chi-Mu's chattering mouth. Normally, Chi-Mu wouldn't act like this. Today, he saw a miracle happen. It was inevitable that he would be excited. "Oh my God, it can even transform! Lion, the golden battle puppet I challenged can transform into a lion, the king of all beasts." "Roar, it's too powerful. I'm the Lion King, I'm the king of all beasts." Chi-Mu pressed the gem button on the bracelet and found that the golden battle puppet that belonged to him began to transform rapidly and magically in an incredible shape. Within a few seconds, it changed from a humanoid battle puppet to a golden lion. This made him very happy. Thinking back to the time when his elders took over Sunset, he couldn't remember how many promises and guarantees had been made. It was not easy for him to get the golden battle puppet Sunset. But now, with just a sentence, he got a golden battle puppet that was no weaker than Sunset. Moreover, this golden battle puppet could transform. The war avatars of the human valley used to have shape-shifting war avatars, but in the past 10,000 years, because of the loss of ancient war avatar technology, there was no war avatar that could transform between human and beast forms. At least, there was no war avatar that could freely transform in its twilight years. Even if there was, it only existed in the legends. Right now, he already had a transformation battle puppet that only existed in the legends. How could he not jump for joy? Chi Mu somersaulted on the back of the golden lion and roared, as if he was the king that conquered lions. It's too noisy, Xiao Mu. Can you go to the side and experiment? Mingzhu Prince was very helpless. He thought that this guy must have lost his mind because he was too happy. If he had known earlier, it would have been better not to let him participate in the experiment. At least he could have some peace of mind. Yes. Chi Mu was very happy and did not care about anything else. He quickly agreed and rode the golden lion outside to experiment so that he would not disturb the two. Before he left the courtyard, he used the bracelet to control the golden lion to run back. Pointing at the 7 silver-ranked battle dolls that had already transformed into silver-ranked wolves, he bowed towards Yu Yang and begged with a smile, "I know that you are not interested in silver-ranked battle dolls. Why don't you give them all to me? You and Mingzhu can take your time to study, I will not disturb you. I only want these 7 silver wolves. Think about it, I have a lion and 7 wolves behind me. How majestic would that be?" Yu Yang was speechless. This guy was really greedy, but it was good to send this third wheel away. Thus, Yu Yang transferred the ownership and control of the silver wolves to Chi Mu's golden bracelet. This was to prevent this guy from drooling and refusing to leave. Chi Mu was happy like a child and laughed loudly. "Battle Beast Army, let's go!" The prideful Twilight rode on the back of the golden lion battle avatar, and led the 7 silver wolves out of the manor. No one knew where they were headed to. With the golden lion and silver wolves, Chi Mu had completely thrown all his research to the back of his mind. Alright, those were all done by those evildoers with higher intellect. He only cared about receiving the result. Anyway, no matter what, he was one of the 3 great leaders that would go down in history. Rushing out of the manor, Chi Mu started to think about what eye-catching names he should give to the golden lion and the others. As for what would happen to Yu Yang and Mingzhu Prince inside, it was not his concern at all. Sigh, if I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have let him come. Mingzhu Prince smiled at Yu Yang apologetically. It's all right. Yu Yang was very magnanimous. Should I continue to create, or should I do as you said and raise the rank of the golden battle puppets? Mingzhu Prince realized that he liked to research with this brat. Other than his evildoer ideas and miraculous creation abilities, he felt that his condition had improved unbelievably when he was researching with this brat. It was as if his inspiration would gush out like a spring just by staying by his side. Don't you want to see what your battle puppet looks like after it transforms? Yu Yang grabbed Mingzhu Prince's hand and gently put on a small and exquisite bracelet on his fair and jade-like wrist. Quasi-holy battle puppet bracelet? Just as Mingzhu Prince was about to struggle free, his eyes suddenly widened as he looked at the bracelet on his wrist in astonishment. It's a pity that I can't create a holy ranked one in such a short time. But don't worry, I will raise your bracelet to holy rank sooner or later. Give me some time, I will create more and more miracles in this human valley, as long as you are willing to witness it with me. Yu Yang held on to Mingzhu Prince's hand without letting go and sighed. It's so beautiful. It's quite beautiful. I have never seen such an exquisite bracelet before. Mingzhu Prince also nodded his head. I'm talking about your hand. Yu Yang sweated profusely. You bastard, you dare to be rude to me? I'll just dig a hole and bury you. Mingzhu Prince turned hostile faster than flipping a page. With a flip of his hand, the golden hammer instantly appeared in his hand. Before Yu Yang could escape, he had already been smashed into the ground by Mingzhu Prince's hammer. After killing Yu Yang, Mingzhu Prince wasn't angry at all. Instead, he controlled the bracelet in his hand to transform the golden battle puppet that Yu Yang had spent so much effort to create. Seeing his golden battle puppet quickly transform into a slender and perfect snow leopard, Mingzhu Prince couldn't help but be overjoyed. He was very satisfied with the work that he and Yu Yang had created together. Without waiting for Yu Yang to come out from the ground, Mingzhu Prince grabbed his hand and helped him press the gemstone button. Seeing Yu Yang's golden battle puppet transform into a fierce and domineering tiger, standing side by side with the snow leopard, one big and one small, his mood became much better. He reached out his hand to pull Yu Yang up from the ground, but he didn't let him off. As a noble, you should know basic etiquette. You must respect your friends, don't insult them with words. I'm your friend, that's why I'm letting you off this time. If it was someone else, they would have already fought with you. Yu Yang pretended to be an obedient child and nodded his head. Yes, I'll definitely be obedient in the future. However, if it was someone else, I wouldn't be able to praise them. I'm speaking the truth when I say that your hands are beautiful. I never say lies. Mingzhu Prince was furious. You still dare to say that a man's hands can be described as beautiful? Yu Yang hurriedly admitted his mistake and apologized. I was wrong. I was a little absent-minded just now and forgot that you are a man. I won't do it again. Humph. Mingzhu Prince used a sweet nasal voice to end this matter. In the next few hours, Yu Yang was very obedient. He and Mingzhu Prince concentrated on their research. First, they continued to work together and created another 2 batches of battle puppets using the method of farming. With the previous successful experience and the control of the materials, they created more gold battle puppet. However, the quality was actually not as good as the first batch. It wasn't that they couldn't, it was that they didn't need to. Yu Yang and Mingzhu Prince both thought that the gold battle puppets or silver battle puppets that they created now were only used to arm their subordinate. They didn't need to stay at the gold battle puppet level for too long. After all, platinum ranked or even holy ranked was their ultimate goal. Rumble, rumble, rumble. After 2 rounds of farming, they finally obtained 8 gold battle puppets and 12 silver battle puppets. Different from the first transformation battle puppet that Yu Yang created these 2 times, the battle puppets that he created weren't tigers, leopards, lions, or wolves. There was only one type of battle puppet, and that was the giant ape. The gold-ranked giant ape battle puppet was 10 meters tall, which was slightly bigger than the 8-meter silver giant ape. Its battle power was also 2 times higher. Mingzhu Prince was in a good mood at this moment and couldn't help but laugh. His voice was as melodious as a bell, causing Yu Yang to fall into a trance again. Luckily, Mingzhu Prince's control was very good. He quickly regained his composure and nodded towards Yu Yang. The secret skill has been created successfully. There are no more obstacles. Next, we should proceed to the second step, which is to upgrade the battle puppet with the secret skill. Alright, how did you think of using the farming method to obtain the recognition of the human valley's law and to absorb the Earth's energy to create battle puppets? With regards to this curiosity, Yu Yang naturally didn't hold back. He first put his hands behind his back and walked forward. When Mingzhu Prince took out his gold great hammer, Yu Yang hurriedly signaled him not to use violence. He coughed twice like an old man and said, Actually, this idea came from the hard-working farmers. Isn't there a saying that goes, in spring, farmers plant peanuts, and in autumn, farmers harvest a lot of peanuts? I thought, if that's the case, I'll plant a little beauty in spring, and in autumn, I should be able to harvest a lot of beauties. Mingzhu Prince looked at Yu Yang as if he had seen a ghost and asked with a trembling voice, You really did that? Yu Yang shook his head. I only wanted to do it, but it's a pity that I didn't have the chance to plant it. However, before me I heard that there was a man who did that. He planted his girlfriend in spring, and in autumn, he harvested a peanut. What? Impossible. Mingzhu Prince definitely didn't believe it. Planting a girlfriend in spring and only harvesting a skeleton in autumn, how could it be a peanut? I also felt that harvesting a peanut was too pitiful, that's why I didn't plant it. Yu Yang said suspiciously. It must be that he planted it in the wrong way, or he didn't weed, fertilize or catch insects after planting it. I heard that flowers need to be sung in order for the flowers to bloom beautifully. Maybe that guy didn't sing after planting his girlfriend, so he only harvested a peanut. There's no use in singing, idiot. Mingzhu Prince couldn't help but smack this brat's head. What kind of person was this? He didn't even have a bit of common sense, and he still wanted to learn how to plant crops? No wonder he thought of using farming methods to plant puppets. He was really an idiotic genius. However, why would he harvest a peanut after planting his girlfriend? This was the only thing that Mingzhu Prince couldn't understand. Yu Yang hurriedly waved his hands. Stop, you're the one who wanted me to say it. If I say it now, you won't be happy. I won't share my secret with you anymore. When Mingzhu Prince heard that the situation wasn't good, he hurriedly stopped. He helped Yu Yang adjust his collar, patted the dust off his body and removed the grass in his hair. He tried to hold back his laughter as he consoled him. All right, it's my fault this time. I apologize to you. What other secrets do you have? Let me hear them all. Yu Yang rubbed his chin and thought for a while. Do you want to hear the secret of how my little wife saved the world? Mingzhu Prince's expression was slightly awkward. He didn't want to talk too much about his little wife. Seeing that this brat was quite serious and didn't seem like he was going to spout vulgar words, he decided to give him a chance. This seemed a little unbelievable. How could my little wife save the world? Impossible. He would listen to what he had to say. If he couldn't do it, he would decide whether to use a hammer to punish him. With this thought, Mingzhu Prince nodded his head and agreed. He let Yu Yang start. This story is long. If I were to tell it all, it would take me 3 days and 3 nights. No, I need to drink some water first. You should sit down and eat something. Why are you sitting so far away? Don't worry, I'm not interested in men. I only like beautiful women. What about you? Aha, I accidentally strayed from the topic. Where was I just now? Speaking of which, a long time ago there was a terrifying Frankenstein. He controlled a powerful army and was prepared to conquer the world. The only thing in the world that could stop him was the Dragon God. Dragon God! Yes, it's the legendary divine dragon. It's the divine dragon that can fulfill any wish. That's great. This is the real Dragon God. Oh yes, did the Dragon God appear? Did it stop that Frankenstein and his army? No, the Dragon God was summoned by Frankenstein. You heard it right. Because no one could stop that terrifying Frankenstein and his army, the sleeping Dragon God was summoned by Frankenstein. That's not the most important thing. The most terrifying thing was that Frankenstein was prepared to make a wish to the Dragon God to become the king of the world and rule the world. Frankenstein succeeded. No. What happened? At the critical moment, a lecherous pig head appeared. When Frankenstein shouted, "I want," before he could shout the words "become the king of the world," the pig shouted to the Dragon God, "I want a beautiful woman's little panties." In the end, the Dragon God fulfilled the pig's wish and gave it a moist and fragrant little panties that had just been worn by a beautiful woman. Just like that, because of the appearance of the little panties, everyone in the world was saved. This is the story of the little panties saving the world. Don't hit me. Chapter 1084. One day later. When Chimu, who rode on the Golden Lion and the 7 Silver Wolf battle puppets, returned to the manor, he realized that Yu Yang and Mingzhu Prince were researching a new type of puppet beast. It was not the battle puppets that they had planned. This new type of puppet beast was also gold ranked. And there was more than one. 2 brightly colored giant golden spider puppets, which were similar in shape but different in appearance, were continuously moving on the ground. According to Yu Yang's instructions, they continuously made all kinds of movements, such as crawling, stopping, hiding, jumping, accelerating, attacking, dodging, and so on. The agility of the golden spider puppets made Qi Mu drool. How was this a puppet beast? It was much more agile than a real spider beast. Furthermore, it was a puppet beast that would never betray its master. The only thing that Qi Mu could not understand was why the stomach of this gold-ranked spider puppet was so big. Compared to a real spider, the stomach of this type of spider puppet was 10 times bigger. If it was not for the huge stomach, the speed and attack power of this spider puppet would be doubled. In short, the seemingly useless huge stomach would affect its battle power. Although Qi Mu had the hidden characteristics of a silly young man, he was after all one of the 4 princes of Guangming. His intelligence was there for all to see. Even if he could not be compared to Yu Yang and Mingzhu Prince, he could still defeat elites like Yang Ping and Qinch. If he could see that there was a problem with the huge stomach of the spider, how could Mingzhu Prince not see it? There must be a reason why the monstrous titan purposely made it like that. Qi Mu held back his curiosity and did not say anything. He did not even greet Yu Yang and Mingzhu Prince, afraid that it would affect the test. He waited quietly and patiently until Yu Yang and Mingzhu Prince had finished their test. Only then did he walk forward with a big smile. Before I tell you a shocking news, can you tell me how you developed these spider puppets that were not part of the plan? No matter what, I am still one of the 3 giants. You guys secretly researched without me, isn't that too much? Of course, as long as you give me one, I will be magnanimous and forgive you. He felt that he urgently needed another gold-tier puppet beast. For someone like him who was one of the big 3, if he didn't have a gold-tier puppet beast following him, he would be embarrassed to go out and greet people in the future. Are you sure you want to know how it was developed? Young Master Ming Zhu had a look of doubt in his eyes that said, even if I told you, you wouldn't be able to understand it with your stupid IQ. Ming Zhu doesn't like spiders, this one is for you. Yu Yang was afraid that Qi Mu would feel so inferior that she would want to hang herself, so he hurriedly comforted her. He also transferred the ownership of the scarlet-red spider puppet to Qi Mu. Wow, you're too kind, my good brother. Of course, Qi Mu knew that these 2 spiders were jointly developed by Yu Yang and Mingzhu Prince. He had nothing to do with it. But now that he had returned, Titan had given one to him. This proved that the 2 of them had not forgotten about him. If there were any benefits, he would have a share. How could he not be touched? As one of the 3 giants, what news did you get out? Mingzhu Prince secretly mocked Qi Mu for carrying the name of a giant without doing any work. Aha! Qi Mu blushed when he heard that. He laughed and said, there's really a shocking piece of news. Prince Ji Wuri of Tiandu, the guy who was said to be the closest to God, had led his Prince of Vengeance and his puppet army to destroy the Crow bandits in the Noisy Valley 2 days ago. He was ready to lead the army to conquer the sinful city behind the Noisy Valley. He has already sent out a holy war call to all the younger generation in Human Valley. It is said that many families and forces have responded, including Golden Leaf City's Qinch and Flaming Sun City's Yang Ping. Conquer the Sin City? What a joke! Mingzhu Prince was obviously not optimistic about this kind of action. Is it the Sin City that even the leader of the rebel army against the heavens can't conquer? Yu Yang frowned slightly. Although he had not been in Human Valley for long, he had heard of the big name of the Sin City. The original name of the Sin City was White Water City. It was said to be a town of singing and dancing. It was famous for producing excellent songs and dancing and beautiful women. The previous generations of White Water City lords had always governed the city with benevolence and had won the hearts of the people. It was the city with the highest level of support among all the cities. 10,000 years ago, it had always been a blessed land. There were as many geniuses and wise people as the stars in the sky. However, later on, an especially inconceivable thing happened. The previous city lord actually went crazy. He killed his beloved wife, killed his own son, and slaughtered all his loyal and capable subordinate. Finally, under the watchful eyes of tens of thousands of people, he burned himself to death on the roof of the castle, burning himself alive in front of everyone's eyes. This was not the most important thing. The most terrifying thing was that his wife, son, and capable subordinates were all resurrected. During the day, the city lord's wife and son, as well as many of his loyal subordinates, were all in human form. On the surface, they looked no different from ordinary people. But at night, these people who were resurrected would turn into terrifying skeleton puppets. After the city lord's wife and young city lord took over White Water City, they deceived the people of White Water City for a long period of time. Anyone who discovered the secret of turning into skeleton puppets was persecuted. In the end, when the secret could no longer be concealed, the city lord's wife and young city lord announced that White Water City would become independent and leave the human valley. The army that would turn into skeleton puppets at night also began to attack the people of White Water City. Except for a small number of people who escaped, more than 100,000 people died in a bloody massacre. The strangest thing was that the people who were killed were all assimilated. During the day they were humans, and at night they turned into skeleton puppets. Each of them resurrected in the form of skeletons and joined the evil camp that left the human valley. The major forces of the human valley tried many times to conquer the city of Sin City. However, because of the weather and geography or other reasons, although there were some results, they did not manage to destroy the city of Sin. Because they were attacked many times, the losses were not small. The city of Sin also changed its strategy. From the original "all humans are enemies," it changed to selective cooperation. They gave shelter to the rebels, thieves, and criminals of the human valley. They openly welcomed the evil fanatics to live in the city of Sin. Even some mercenaries with bad reputations were not rejected. Slowly, the city of Sin became stronger and became an evil force that the major forces of the human valley could not look down on. The leader of the rebel army, against the heavens, had wanted to take over this territory many times. However, he found that it was impossible for him to do so, so he could only choose to cooperate. Against the heavens, who had been the leader of the rebel army for thousands of years and had a strong foundation, could not even think of taking over the city of Sin. How could he take down Ji Wuri, who had just entered the human valley for less than half a year? Mingzhu Prince scoffed at this result. Don't treat people like fools. Ji Wuri did that just to earn a good reputation and rope in a group of hot-headed youths to be his future subordinate. I can't say for sure whether Ji Wuri can take down the city of Sin. But I can be sure that if he does that, countless righteous people will be willing to work for him. If nothing unexpected happens, this year's warrior's order will be taken by Ji Wuri. Chimu laughed. This is indeed a good move. Yu Yang admitted that Ji Wuri was not as simple as a chicken. His quasi-god rank was not just for bragging. Even a lazy person like me is a little tempted. I want to go and take a look. Chimu paused and smiled. I think it won't be long before Prince Yangchuan and Prince Chaohui will join us. They might even send us letters to persuade us to join. I definitely won't do those senseless things. Young Master Mingzhu was furious, resolutely refusing. Although we have different ideas, in the eyes of outsiders, we are the four princes of Guangming after all. If we reject them too directly, we might be criticized as coward. It will not look good for the elders either. If you ask me, we can agree to it vaguely. But we can express our dissatisfaction with Ji Wumu's leadership. We can sow dissension among them. Anyway, there are too many people who want to be the leader. It would be embarrassing if we don't let them be our shield. Finally, even the youth army who will participate in the expedition can't take action immediately. It's not a bad idea to go and watch the fun. If Chi Mu was serious, he would be qualified to be the Twilight Prince. He was not the kind of arrogant and conceited person who would not allow others to win. Anyway, I can't be bothered with them. You settle it. Mingzhu Prince felt that what he needed to do now was to help Yu Yang win the first place in the newcomer assessment. Alright, you guys take your time. I'm leaving. Chi Mu knew that this was Mingzhu Prince's decision. He only came back to inform him. He rode on the Golden Lion and was ready to leave. He turned around and returned. Pointing at the spider puppet with a huge belly, he asked Yu Yang, I forgot to ask. Is there any special use for this spider's belly? Storing venom? Is it used for eruption or something else? He felt that designing such a big belly was not a failure. There must be some special use. Yu Yang did not answer. He just threw a round iron ball to him. Once the round iron ball was in his hand, it immediately grew 8 legs. Like a spider hunting its prey, it grabbed Chi Mu's wrist and opened its mouth. 2 sharp poisonous fangs viciously bit down on Chi Mu's arm. Chi Mu was terrified. He hurriedly threw this scary monster away. The spider-like iron ball smashed heavily on the ground. The compound eyes on it flickered a few times. Suddenly, it produced an earth-shattering explosion. Chi Mu, who could not react in time and was still within the explosion range, was blasted into tatters. His face was charred black and his hair was smoking. Fortunately, he was fast enough to throw the spider-shaped iron ball away. Otherwise, he would be in an even worse state. This thing can explode? Chi Mu was so scared that he almost peed his pants. Especially when he thought about what happened just now. If he did not react fast enough, his body would have turned into a hornet's nest. Spider bomb puppet. Yu Yang smiled and explained, Your female spider's belly is filled with these little spiders. Oh my God! Chi Mu sucked in a breath of cold air. Releasing a belly full of little spiders and turning them into spider bomb puppets, if they surrounded the enemy, there was no need to think about it to know how miserable the enemy would be. This spider bomb puppet that Tai Tan developed was too vicious, wasn't it? He was trying to kill people. The most terrifying thing was that this spider bomb was obviously targeted at puppet beasts. After all, Warrior's reaction speed was too fast. It would be difficult for the spider bomb to hit the target unless the target was unprepared. However, puppet beasts were different. Puppet beasts did not have brains. They did not know how to dodge or retreat. They were also not that agile. Once they met with this spider bomb, they would probably be blown up for nothing from the looks of it. The puppet beasts in the human valley would most likely be destroyed by Tai Tan, the king of destruction. Chi Mu sweated profusely as he thought about it. He only felt a chill down his spine. It was as if there were thousands of earthworms crawling on his body. However, Mingzhu Prince was not satisfied with the result of this explosion. He said, The spider's 8 limbs are still too weak. It needs to be corrected. Otherwise, the enemy would be easily shaken off. The time of the bite's fixation is also a bit slower. There is no way to synchronize it. Otherwise, Xiaomu would not be able to break free. Lastly, the explosion's power is still not enough. If it is strengthened by 10 times, it might still be useful. I was almost blown to death by you guys. Are you still not satisfied? Do you really want to blow me to death to be considered a success? Chi Mu could not help but ridicule. Don't worry. I won't blow you to death. Even if you are an idiot and can't react in time, I can still control the spider bomb in time to stop it from exploding. Mingzhu Prince looked down on Chi Mu, this experimental subject. Do you know that you are not qualified to be an experimental subject? Chi Mu immediately burst into tears. You are just a little smarter. Do you have to bully me like this? No matter what, I am one of the 3 great leaders. Do you have to use the spider bomb to blow me up without even greeting me? Wait, that's not right. As one of the 3 great leaders, if I did not participate in the research, it would be unreasonable. Now that I have participated in the experiment, even if it is the last experiment I have contributed, This spider bomb would be able to leave its name in the annals of history. On a certain day, Twilight Gongzi sacrificed himself for the greater good, sacrificing himself for the sake of Titan and Prince Pearl's dangerous experiment. Because of Twilight Gongzi's great sacrifice, the spider bomb puppet was able to come into being. As he thought about it this way, his mood, which was past his prime, immediately improved. He quickly put on a smiling face for Yu Yang and Mingzhu Prince. This spider bomb puppet is definitely a brand new puppet. We've created another unprecedented puppet and we've made history. Haha, we, the three magnates, are indeed omnipotent. No, I have to personally go to Silver Maple City to verify it. I have to verify it at the statue of the God of War. Don't worry, leave everything outside to me. I won't let anything affect your research. You guys can slowly work here. I won't disturb the two of you anymore. When he thought of the beautiful receptionists at the Puppet Guild in Silver Maple City, seeing this unprecedented puppet monster appear, showing their fanatical admiration and letting out orgasmic screams, he couldn't help but feel elated. Great, it was indeed the right choice to let Tai Tan and young Master Ming Zhu team up. You guys can slowly research here. I'll go and let the girls scream, beauties in Silver Maple City, please don't worship me too much. Why do I have this kind of cousin? Mingzhu Prince covered his face and sighed. He felt that it was too embarrassing to have this kind of relative. No, I think it's not bad to have this kind of cousin. Of course, this is only if he has a beautiful cousin. Yu Yang accidentally spoke his mind. What if he doesn't? Mingzhu Prince glared angrily. If he really doesn't, you can change into female clothes. I can still casually accept it. Before Yu Yang could finish his sentence, he was sent flying by the angry golden hammer. Mingzhu Prince was seething with anger. Changing into female clothes was one thing, but he could still casually accept it? I'll just casually take your head. Chapter 1085. Haug had been very unhappy recently. His identity as a commoner had caused this former leader of the Devil Valley to suffer everywhere. Whether it was looking for a job or studying, he was always looked down upon. Sometimes, he really wanted to yell at those guys who were blind and looked down on him. I'm a level 5 supreme martial artist. If we weren't in the Human Valley, you wouldn't even be qualified to lick my feet. However, this was the Human Valley, a place where no force could be used at all. If Haug had been good at puppet war dolls, he would have been able to make a name for himself even if he was a commoner. However, he had despised those slow and unintelligent puppet war dolls since he was a child. He felt that these things that couldn't be upgraded had no future, and it was better to cultivate a battle beast with high potential. Therefore, as a cultivation maniac, he never wanted to waste time on puppet war dolls. It was too late to regret now. If it weren't for Rentienga, the great sage silver pupil, and a few other companions who took care of him from time to time, perhaps Haug would have become a beggar. Even with his temper, there was no way he could honestly work for some lowly and snobbish businessmen. What's more, those jobs were extremely exploitative. He wasn't a slave who was destined to be exploited since birth, and had long resigned himself to his fate. He was a reincarnated person who possessed the strength of a 5th-level supreme martial artist. No matter how great the pressure of life was right now, he couldn't put himself in the shoes of a commoner who was constantly bullied and humiliated. Get out. You can't even do a small job well, and you dare to offend your superiors and criticize my arrangements? Lowly commoner, get out of here right now and never let me see you again. In a shop, the manager's spittle flew everywhere, spraying the angry Haug with vicious words, telling him to get out of here immediately. You damn maggot! Haug was so angry that his face was about to change shape. It was obviously this bullshit manager who didn't explain clearly and made a mess of the work arrangements, which led to the accident. If it weren't for Haug's outstanding ability, the mistake would have been even bigger. It could be said that Haug single-handedly saved the entire project and minimized the damage to the store. Logically speaking, he should be rewarded, but the store manager actually put the blame on Haug in order to shirk responsibility. If Haug could use force now, he would tear this guy apart alive in his rage, and then put him together in 30 different positions as a corpse. Unfortunately, this was the human valley. Haug, who had the power to look down on all the warriors in Nut City, could only be a worker who had been kicked out of the house. Originally, Haug had wanted to endure it and save some money to buy the lowest-level puppet beast, then go out and take some mercenary jobs to gradually turn his poor life around. With his strength as a 5th-level supreme martial artist, even though he couldn't fight directly, he believed that he could successfully complete many difficult mercenary missions by manipulating the puppet beasts, even if they were of the lowest level. The problem was that the current him really couldn't stand it any longer. Ever since he entered the valley until now, he hadn't had a single day of comfort. Every day, he was either scolded or dismissed, and even chased away like a beggar. "I'll buy a puppet of war right now and come back to tear down your stupid shop." Haug was driven out and roared angrily. Because of his low status and bad temper, he often quarreled with his employers. Haug was considered a celebrity in Nut City. Many people who ridiculed him even gave Haug a nickname. They called him Mountain Cannon. Some busybodies even secretly calculated for Haug to see how many employers would fire this commoner who had just returned from a study trip. It was also because of Haug's reputation that many villains also held the mentality of teasing him. They deliberately hired Haug and then made things difficult for him, forcing Haug to make a fool of himself in order to increase the number of jokes. As the saying goes, poverty stunts ambition. Sometimes, Haug knew that others had bad intentions, but in order to save money, he had to bite the bullet and accept it. For example, today's store manager was one of them. He had no real intention of hiring Haug. He was only thinking of ways to mess with him, and in the end, he almost destroyed the shop he was in charge of. Under so many malicious insults, it was hard for Haug not to suffer a tragedy. After Haug went out, a worker in the store, Gon Lin, caught up with him and secretly gave him a small bag of broken crystals. "This is the savings of you and your sister for more than 10 years. Why?" Haug had never felt so heavy in his life. It was so heavy that even his heart could not bear it. "Sister said that you're not an ordinary wanderer. You're a good man with dreams and pursuits. You're different from us. I'll be a commoner for the rest of my life. I'm of low birth and have no special skills. I reckon that I won't be able to achieve anything great in this lifetime. Sister and I have discussed this. I'll give you these broken crystals to buy a puppet beast. With it, you might be able to walk out of Nut City in the future and achieve your goals and dreams. Haug, I am a lowly commoner who doesn't even have dreams. I hope that these can help you achieve your dreams. And I can only do this little bit." Gon Lin, who was thin and timid, was the only one who would talk to Haug. However, Haug had never thought that this timid youth would actually take out all of his family's savings to help him. "Gon Lin, these are all of your savings. If you give them to me, what will happen to you and sister?" Haug had seen Gon Lin's sister before. Due to her congenital deficiency, she was bedridden all year round, and was so weak that a gust of wind could blow her away. She was blind. Other than trying to weave red ropes and some small handicrafts to help supplement the family's financial situation, she could not do anything else. Even going out for a walk had become a luxury. Holding the money pouch in his hand, he felt the light yet heavy crystal fragment. Just how many ropes did the blind sister weave? How much paper did she cut? And how many small handicrafts did she have to do to save up this sum of crystal fragments? And this Gon Lin had always been bullied and humiliated. Not only did she have to do the heaviest and most tiring work, but the shop owner also deducted her wages and even beat and scolded her every 2 to 3 days. Looking at the scars on her thin shoulders caused by carrying heavy goods for a long time, looking at the swollen face after being beaten, and the sincere gaze that was still willing to help others fulfill their dreams despite the despair of life, looking at the starving girl in front of him who was always in a weak state and holding the bag of crystal fragments that had been accumulated for a long time, Haug had an urge to burst into tears. He hated himself for not being able to let this pair of siblings live a good life. Instead, they had to use their lifetime savings to help him. "We're used to it. It's okay, we still have food, and it's almost time to get our wages. You don't have to worry about us." Gon Lin looked back at the shop timidly. After making sure that the shop owner would not take out a broom and beat them up, she whispered, "Of course, we also hope that you succeed. If you succeed, you might become a mercenary group leader in the future. When that time comes, let me follow you. I'll definitely work hard for you and won't hold you back. Sister said that you'll definitely succeed because you're a person who has the courage to pursue." "Yes." Haug's voice was a little shaky. "I'll definitely succeed. I have to go back to work, or else the shop owner will beat me up again." Gon Lin heard the curses coming from the shop and hurriedly said goodbye to Haug. "Gon Lin." Haug could not help but shout. "What?" The timid and thin boy turned around in surprise. "Wait for me, I'll definitely come back." Haug held the bag of crystal fragments tightly. He really wanted to make 100 promises to the boy, but he was afraid that he would not be able to fulfill them and let the boy down. But Haug was absolutely sure that no matter what, whether he succeeded or not, he would definitely come back and change the lives and destinies of this boy and his sister. "Come on, you'll definitely succeed." Afraid that the shop owner would hear her, Gon Lin tried to keep her voice as low as possible. At the same time, she waved her hand as a way of cheering Haug on. His back was seen disappearing from the shop. Haug felt that his eyes were a little hot. He had never thought that he would have such a day where he would be reduced to the point where he needed help from a pair of siblings who did not even have the strength of an earth rank. Moreover, that sister was a blind, disabled person who was bedridden all year round. But it was even more impossible for him not to accept their good intentions. If he wasted their good intentions, then his predicament would last even longer and his chances of success would be even further away. His return to change the lives of this pair of siblings would also have to be delayed. Weighing the pros and cons, Haug, a super expert with the strength of a level 5 supreme martial artist, lowered his head and accepted the intentions of this pair of siblings. He needed this sum of money. He needed the pitifully small amount of crystal fragments to change this damned destiny. The Puppet Guild. Haug had used up all his savings and even pawned everything that could be used as collateral. It was not easy for him to purchase an iron-clawed wolf that was not even a bronze rank. This kind of weak little puppet beast outside the human valley would be shattered into pieces by a single sneeze from him. He had used up the last piece of crystal fragments he had on him. From now on, he would have nowhere to stay and no food to eat. The only thing that made Haug feel fortunate was that he finally had a puppet beast. With a puppet beast, he could fight and accept mercenary missions to earn money. In other words, he had already taken a small step on the road to success. Not bad, Shan Pao actually has a puppet beast. Oh my, is today the day of a salted fish's life changing? A sharp and unkind voice rang out behind Haug. Then, a young man with sharp lips, slender eyes, and a flat nose walked over, escorted by 3 burly men. He clicked his tongue and mocked Haug, his voice vicious and provocative. Humph! If they were not in the human valley, Haug could kill this guy with one finger, but he really could not do anything to him now. This guy, who looked like a bastard, was a relative of the mayor of Nut City. He was the son of the mayor's cousin. His name was Mao Ba, and he was the son of a small noble in Nut City who liked to bully the weak. Usually, he liked to bully commoners like Haug who were unwilling to accept their current situation, and he took pleasure in trampling on other people's dignity. Lowly commoner, you should be an obedient lowly commoner, sell your strength for us nobles for a lifetime, and be our loyal dog slave. Lowly commoners like you who don't know their place are the most annoying. Well, don't you want to make a comeback? This young master will give you a chance. The small noble Maoba took out a challenge scroll and pretended to be cool and unfolded it. A strange light flashed. It was connected to Haug and him. This was a challenge scroll for both parties to agree to a duel. It was a scroll for a small-scale duel that would not harm the other party's life. Haug's expression changed drastically. He wanted to immediately run out of the puppet guild, but it was too late. The puppet beasts behind Maoba and his 3 followers had already surrounded the iron-clawed wolf that Haug had just bought. There was no chance of resistance. 1 silver-ranked hound puppet beast and 3 bronze-ranked wild boar puppet beasts had instantly killed Haug's iron-clawed wolf. Not to mention a 4-on-1 group fight, even if it was a 1-on-1 duel, any one of the opponent's puppet beasts would be able to defeat the iron-clawed wolf. Impossible, this is impossible. I have never agreed to your challenge. Haug's heart was in complete despair. He almost went crazy. The Gon Lin siblings' savings of more than 10 years, as well as the crystals that he had accumulated in silence, and the investment of his entire fortune, to buy the iron-clawed wolf that carried all of his and Gon Lin's hopes, had turned into a pile of scrap metal in less than a minute. The contract that you signed when you were working had your signature on it. Ha ha, aren't I very smart? Even the laws are at my disposal. A lowly commoner like you, what hope do you have? You are destined to be a slave for the rest of your life. This is the fate of lowly commoners like you. Any resistance or struggle is just a huge joke. Maoba laughed maniacally. He loved to destroy other people's dreams. The more pain they felt, the more their dignity was damaged, and the more their dreams were destroyed, the happier he was, and the more he felt a sense of accomplishment. You! Haug's eyes were about to split open. He had never hated a person so much in his life. What's the use of being angry at you? Can you bite me? If you have the ability, then step on me. If that's the case, I will definitely bark like a dog and make you happy. Unfortunately, you are the one being stepped on by me like a dog, as pitiful as a dog. Do you want this young master to pity you? Kneel down and bark. If you make this young master happy, I might even reward you with a bone. Maoba laughed at the crazy Haug without restraint. The more his opponent was in pain, the more pleased he was. Young master, what should we do with Gon Lin and the blind girl? A follower asked in a fawning manner. Throw the man into the black prison and charge him with theft. Make him stay in the black prison for the rest of his life, never to see the light of day until he turns into a skeleton. The blind girl is too skinny, a bag of bones. There's no point in playing with her. Charge her with defective goods and throw her into a rat hole to mine. What did you say? She's blind and can't mine? Ha ha, I want her to be unable to mine and stay in there to feed the rats for the rest of her life. I want her hands and feet to be eaten by the rats. Dreams, what a joke. Is dreams something that you lowly commoners can have? Maoba arrogantly shouted at Haug. In front of him, Haug was so angry that he punched his chest and broke one of his ribs. You dare? Haug was so angry that his body was about to explode. Blood flowed from his eyes. You still have the heart to resist? Ha ha, fun. Maoba stretched out a leg and took off his shoes and socks, revealing his dirty and smelly toes. He sneered. Kneel down immediately and lick my toes. Otherwise, I'll use my puppet beast to rape that blind girl 100 times and play with her until her entire body explodes. Lick, lick, lick. You must lick the gaps between her toes clean. The 3 followers shouted in unison. If you don't lick, that blind girl will soon be played to death by me. Maoba's slender eyes were like the fangs of a poisonous snake, flashing with a sinister light. I'm going to kill you. Haug was so angry that he lost his rationality. He only had one thought in his mind, and that was to kill this slut in front of him. No matter what method he used, he had to kill this guy who wasn't even fit to be called a human. That's just your daydreaming. It's nice to dream, but wake up, reality is very cruel. Ha ha ha, in reality, not only can you not harm a single hair on my head, you're also destined to be trampled on by me for the rest of your life. Your friends and family will all become the mud under my feet, trampled on and toyed with in any way. As a lowly commoner with no one to rely on, this is your fate. Mao Ba sneered again and again, not afraid in the slightest. He can't kill you, but what about me? At this moment, a voice as clear as a spring rang out from the entrance of the puppet guild. Following that, a noble lord wearing an exquisite silver mask walked in, accompanied by a dozen guards. He strode in. He ignored the shocked Mao Ba, as well as everyone else in the surroundings. He walked directly in front of Haug, who was in despair, and revealed a smile that was brighter than the sun. You must be my great Titan family's long-lost cousin, Haug. A wanderer who has suffered a lot outside. Now that the bitterness is over, I've finally found you. Tai Shi, bring Master Haug's noble badge, clothes, and exclusive gold-ranked beast. Although we've been separated for many years and have just been reunited, he's still a member of my honorable Titan family. No matter what, we can't let the Titan family's reputation be tarnished. Haug's eyes widened. At first, he couldn't believe it, but he quickly recovered. First, he grinned, as if he wanted to laugh, but 2 streams of hot tears flowed down. He couldn't hold them back no matter how hard he tried. The noble lord wearing the exquisite silver mask was smiling. That smile was brighter than the sun, as if it could shine into people's hearts. Haug grabbed the silver mask lord's collar and roared, "What if someone maliciously tarnishes the Titan family's unparalleled honor?" The silver mask lord replied calmly, as if he was ordering his servants to kill a fly. "Whoever dares to do that will just kill him. The Titan family will not tolerate provocation. All right, this bastard belongs to me. I'll fight whoever dares to snatch him from me." After the Iron Lion had equipped a gold-tier bracelet on his wrist, Haug could not wait to summon a gold-tier lion puppet beast. Together, they pounced towards Mao Ba, whose face had turned ashen when he realized that the situation had taken a turn for the worse. "You bastard, didn't you want to fight me one-on-one? All right, I'll fulfill your wish." Chapter 1086. Red Sand City. Rentienga and the great sage Silver Pupil, who had just finished a mercenary mission, walked out of the mercenary guild. Although the completion rate of the mission was perfect, and the herbs Rentienga and the others were responsible for gathering were 2 grades higher than the original target, the stingy merchant did not give them extra rewards. He only said, "All rewards will be paid according to the contract," and sent Rentienga away. This mission took 8 days, but I only got 3 heaven crystals. Rentienga felt that his labor was too cheap. It was not easy to be a mercenary. If you knew that the herbs that exceeded the target grade were worth at least 500 heaven crystals, you would be even more depressed. The great sage Silver Pupil smiled slightly. He did not pay attention to Rentienga, who had stopped and walked forward with ease. "Why?" Rentienga caught up and shouted, "If you knew that it was worth so much, why didn't you tell me? It's worth 500 heaven crystals. We might as well go back on our word. Even if we fail the mission, we will only have to compensate the other party with 1 heaven crystal for the delay. We can totally afford it. My God, that's 500 heaven crystals. Why did you give it to that stingy fatty for nothing?" "Because I'm abiding by the rules of Human Valley." The great sage Silver Pupil looked indifferent. "I understand what you mean. If it was an employer who abides by the rules and knows how to repay his kindness, of course we can do this, but that stingy fatty did not abide by the rules first. There is a rule that if the mission is completed high, the employer will give us a reasonable bonus. That fatty did not do this at all. He hired us 3 times, but every time, He only forced us to pay according to the unfair conditions of the contract. You know, us small mercenaries cannot bargain with them in order to make a living. So, they don't abide by the rules at all, and even made unreasonable exploitation contracts to bully us and exploit the fruits of our labor. Do we still need to talk about trust with people like them? No, those profiteers are not worthy of us doing this, and even if we do this, they will not be grateful at all. They do not know what gratitude is. Rentienga shouted in exasperation. You're right. Yes, they don't follow the rules, but are we going to be like them? Great Sage Silver Pupil shook his head. We are reincarnators. We came here to train, not to earn money. The amount of money is not important. What we want is to assimilate into the human valley and pass the test. Hey, I didn't say that you're wrong. Rentienga had never doubted the Great Sage Silver Pupil, but the reality was troubling him. After walking for a while, Rentienga sighed softly. If we have 500 heaven crystals, we can buy a lot of things. We can even set up a battle puppet research center for you and create our own battle puppets. Also, Haug isn't having a good time. I'm worried that he won't be able to endure it. If we have 500 heaven crystals, I believe that Haug won't have to swallow his anger and work for others to earn money. It's really hard for someone with a fiery temper like him to do hard labor. Great Sage Silver Pupil nodded slightly and said, Yes, making Haug do hard labor is indeed a form of torture. But this is the original purpose of the human valley. Coming here, no matter who you are, you have to suffer and have a taste of the human world. Only then will you understand the hardships of being human and cherish everything you have in the future. It is easy for a strong person to obtain money and status, but if you don't know how to cherish and understand the value of material things, then no matter how much you gain, you won't be happy. Whether a person is happy or not depends entirely on his understanding of values, not on how much material things he has. We came here to come down from the position of a super strong person and personally go to the lowest level to experience deeply and integrate these things into our own values and thinking. This way, even if we leave the human valley in the future, we will know how to cherish, understand humbleness, and be grateful for life, instead of being a lonely king who looks down on all living beings and has everything but is not happy. Rentienga was stunned. He never thought that the human valley was established for such a purpose. No wonder Yu Yang, who obviously had the best conditions, did not exchange and only inherited the territory left by his mother. It turned out that smart people like him and Great Sage Silver Pupil came to the human valley to experience life, not purely to earn money to pass the human valley. Silver-eyed Great Sage's footsteps gradually slowed down. In the eyes of ordinary people, gods may be high above, shining with boundless radiance. Once they appear, they are incomparably glorious and sacred. In the hearts of super-experts, gods are not only unbelievably powerful, but also lonely. Because they imagine that gods must have abandoned everything in the world to ascend to the divine realm. Both of these viewpoints are biased. In fact, I guess that God is probably a super-powerful being who understands humans the most. No matter how bitter, how difficult, how unfortunate, and how sorrowful humans are, they understand all of it. Why do the gods not help the suffering people? Because they hope that people can stand up in the midst of suffering, overcome themselves, surpass themselves, and advance to the divine realm that is free from suffering, instead of enjoying and sinking in the human world. No matter how happy the enjoyment in the human world is, in the end, one cannot escape birth, old age, sickness, and death, and cannot escape the tragic ending. How can one get rid of the misfortune of people? That is to advance to the divine realm, to the realm of gods. Why did they establish this human valley? After my observation, experience, and thinking these days, I feel that this is a test. Not only the human valley, but the entire trial ground is a test like this. The ancient giant gods created the trial ground not to make people stronger, but to help people get rid of misfortune and ascend to godhood. Of course, as long as one keeps approaching the divine realm, they will naturally become stronger. Unfortunately, in the eyes of many people, this is what they see, and they misunderstand. Great Sage Silver Pupil's explanation made Rintienga sweat profusely. Since you understand this, why don't you do it yourself? Why do you have to tell me? Rintienga did not feel that he had the comprehension and ability to ascend to godhood. Actually, I'm the same as you. Great Sage Silver Pupil laughed. I understood it too late, and even if I understood it, I wouldn't be able to do it. I must be someone with greater comprehension and stronger ability to fully meet the expectations of the ancient giant gods. I'm relieved to hear that. I think I'd better be an ordinary person. I can't bear the heavy responsibility of becoming a god. Rintienga wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. He was really afraid that Great Sage Silver Pupil would say that he was that kind of person and that he would have to follow that high standard. Ascending to the divine realm could be said to be Rintienga's lifelong dream. However, Rintienga's dream was just a dream. He could not bear to immediately live according to the standards of becoming a god. Without such a high level of comprehension and a strong will, he felt that he could not do it. If he forced himself to do it, he might go crazy. Things like dreams did not have to be realized. Slowly approaching it was already the greatest motivation and joy in life. He was really not mentally prepared to achieve it all at once. Great Sage Silver Pupil laughed when he heard this. Haha, do you think I don't understand you? In fact, I said that just now because I'm afraid that you will be jealous when you see others advancing in the future. The divine realm is not something that ordinary people can pursue, even if they understand the reason. I can't do it, and you can't do it either. If you really want to do it, you have to comprehend more than me, comprehend it earlier, and be it knowledge, wisdom, comprehension, willpower, ability, and so on. You have to be a peerless genius, and you have to be above all others. Only then can you do it. This kind of person, whether it was his own suffering or the suffering of others, whether it was his own life or the life of others, whether it was his own battle or the battle of others, whether it was his own battle or the battle of others, he could comprehend the Tao and transform those things into his own ideas and beliefs. From there, he could condense his own immutable divine thoughts and confirm his unique godhood. This could not be replaced by any force, nor could it be transformed by any external force. It had to be his own achievement in order to be everlasting. Why were people so weak? It is possible for them to advance to the divine realm. The reason is that they can use their great wisdom to walk out of the most bitter and difficult realm and reach the divine realm. And this is something that other powerful races can only dream of. In order to advance to the divine realm, regardless of war beasts or other races, they have to walk this path in the end. They have to come to this human valley, experience life, understand what it is to be a human, and why to be a human. Only then can they truly advance to the divine realm. Rintienga closed his eyes tightly. He was too touched. The reason was the truth. At this moment, he was deeply proud of the human race and deeply moved that he was a human. Humans are the weakest, but all life must be like humans. They have to walk out of their weakest, most bitter and most difficult state in order to advance to a higher divine realm. Otherwise, no matter how powerful they would only be pitiful beings in the lower realm. They had no fate with eternity, immortality, and eternity. Let's go find Haug and Ching Mo. Since we have already understood the true meaning of the human valley, we should also inform them so that they don't take unnecessary detours. Since we are here to experience life, then it doesn't matter if it's suffering or happiness. Rintienga laughed out loud. He now felt that the depression of coming to the human valley had all been swept away. It was as if the atrium in his chest had expanded a lot and could accommodate countless things. Do you think that Haug's comprehension will be the same as yours? The great sage Silver Pupil shook his head lightly. I think that he must have everything before he can be persuaded. Otherwise, he will suppress his resentment in his heart and won't listen to any reason at all. If Haug is rich now and has no more pursuits, he might reflect. But now that he is as poor as a church mouse, it is a little difficult to let him understand that suffering is actually a trial. Then let's go be a person who can understand reason. Find that brat. Ren Tiange couldn't wait to see Yu Yang's expression after listening to this great reason. No need, do you think he will realize it later than me? That young man is an existence that we can't even look up to. Silver-eyed great sage suddenly let out a soft sigh. It's precisely because of his choice that I couldn't figure it out no matter how much I thought about it. Do you think his comprehension will be slower than mine? Maybe he understands all this before he even enters the valley. What? Ren Tiange was sweating profusely. That brat Titan couldn't be so abnormal, could he? It's good to find him. At least, Haug needs his help. Let's wait for Haug to settle down, then we'll see what we can do to help in Human Valley. Silver-eyed great sage's eyes regained the light of wisdom, and the corners of his lips also regained the calm and confident smile that seemed to have a card up his sleeve. Just as Ren Tiange agreed and was about to turn to Nut City, suddenly, he saw someone waiting in front of him. It was a handsome young man dressed in the clothes of an ordinary mercenary. Without waiting for Ren Tiange and the others to speak, he hurriedly stepped forward and greeted, "Are you Lord Ren Tiange and Sage Silver Pupil? I am Wen Xian of the Iron Lion Guards under the Star Diamond Castle. The Lord ordered Wen Xian to wait here for you too." Ren Tiange was stunned. The Lord of the Star Diamond Castle knew him? He immediately reacted. It must be that brat Titan. Before he could ask what was going on, Wen Xian had already taken out 2 golden armbands from his arms and presented them. "These are the golden armbands that the Lord gave to you too. There are already 2 gold-level war dolls sealed inside. Lord Ren Tiange's is the Golden Lion King and the Golden Horned Python used for water combat. Sage Silver Pupil, yours is the Golden Mammoth and the Golden Tiger Shark used for water combat. Please accept them." That's right, his lordship has instructed Wen Xian to deliver this letter to Silver-Eyed Sage. After saying that, the young mercenary tore open his clothes again, took out a letter from the compartment, and respectfully presented it to the great sage Silver Pupil. "I've worked my ass off for almost 3 months, and I've only managed to save enough money to get a white-level battle puppet. It's not even a bronze-level battle puppet, and now he's giving me 2 gold-level battle puppets. Does that brat Titan want me to hang myself in shame?" As soon as Ren Tiange put on the golden armbands, he immediately discovered the special function of his war doll. The huge surprise overwhelmed him. If he did not have to save face in front of a guard like Wen Xian, Ren Tiange would have taken off his clothes and run to vent the excitement in his heart. Ren Tiange felt that if he saved money to buy a gold war doll, it would probably take him 100 years to get one. "I have received the letter. Please go back and tell your lord that we will be there on time." The great sage Silver Pupil quickly read the letter and nodded in reply. "Yes." The little mercenary Wen Xian summoned a silver-level warwolf and was about to ride it away. "Wait a minute." Ren Tiange stopped him. "I want to know if your lord has sent anyone to Nut City? We still have a friend there." "You mean Lord Haug?" Wen Xian bowed respectfully and said, "Because he heard about Lord Haug, his lordship attached great importance to it and has personally gone there. Now, it is estimated that Lord Haug has already met up with his lordship. Please do not worry. In addition, we also have a few brothers who have been sent to Green Bamboo City, Yenyang City, Blood Rock City, Black Fog City, and other places to welcome Qing Mo, Phantom, Sanguiner, and the other lords." "Oh, is this the difference between a man and a god?" Ren Tiange shook his head, feeling a little dizzy. We were still thinking about how to save money to get a Bronze War doll. This brat, on the other hand, sent us 2 Gold War dolls. Does he think these things are cabbages that can be grown directly in the ground? Now I'm a little worried for Worry, ha ha ha. The great sage Silver Pupil was happy and could not stop laughing. Chapter 1087. Nut City. After getting rid of Mao Ba and his lackeys, Haug rushed back to the shop to look for Gon Lin without waiting for a second. However, Gon Lin was no longer there, and there was a pool of wet blood at the entrance of the shop. It was obvious that it had been spilled not long ago. Haug didn't command the Golden Lion beast to destroy this deeply shameful shop, nor did he kill the disgusting shop manager who made people want to vomit at first glance. He only wanted to know where Gon Lin was now. He just left. It was young Master Mao Ba's men who took him away. It has nothing to do with me. The shop owner, whose face was covered in blood, was trembling. What do you mean it has nothing to do with you? Haug, the blood on the ground was from him. Mao Ba's lackeys took Gon Lin away. He chased after them and hit Gon Lin's head with the puppet staff that he used to beat us. One of the shop assistants, who had worked in the same small business as Haug, saw that Haug had made a comeback and owned a gold-level lion puppet beast that only a castellan had the right to own. He immediately stood up and pointed out the shop owner's brutality. If anything happens to Gon Lin, you will die a horrible death. Like an enraged lion, Haug glared at the shopkeeper, who was so scared that he wet his pants. He really wanted to crush the rotten man in his hand to the ground and crush him like a flea. However, after killing Mao Ba, he calmed down from his anger. It was easy to kill him. However, the real torture was to let him live and slowly settle old scores. He believed that when the time came, not only him, but many people would also cry tears of blood. The most important thing was that Haug wanted to find Gon Lin as soon as possible and not torture trash like the shop owner, who did not deserve a second glance. Haug casually tossed the manager aside and decided to leave this kind of trash to the Iron Lion mercenaries. He leapt onto the Golden Lion King's back and rushed out as fast as he could, hoping to save Gon Lin before Mao Ba's lackeys killed her. The slum area on the outskirts of Nut City was a shack area. It was dirty, messy, littered with trash and dirty water. In fact, this was also the place where Nut City stored their garbage. Only a place like this, where even dogs were unwilling to stay, could become the dwelling place of the poor. Only then would the nobles not send people to expel them. It was also in this small place that almost half of the people of Nut City lived. It was also these poor people who used their hands, blood, and sweat to support many profiteers, evil gentry, and corrupt officials who sucked their blood. Most of the poor people, even if they looked at the city walls of Nut City every day, might not have the chance to enter the city even once a year. There were even some poor people who had never entered the city since they were born until they died. Gon Lin's elder sister, Licorice. That was the kind of person he was. If nothing unexpected happened, this blind girl would spend the rest of her life in bed. The furthest she would go out of the house would be the stinky ditch a few meters away from the wooden door. The most comfortable chair she would sit on would be the rough stone stool that Haug had brought back with brute force. Now, the unexpected had happened, but it was not a good thing for Licorice. She, who was originally ill and extremely weak, was violently pulled out of her shabby but warm bed by her hair and thrown heavily on the dirty ground. The wooden door in her house, which had been repaired by Haug, had long been broken into powder, and wood shavings flew for a long time. Her younger brother, Gon Lin, was bleeding from his head. He struggled hard to crawl towards his sister, but there was a foot on his back that was as heavy as a mountain. Gon Lin's hands dug hard into the soil, desperately trying to break free from the heavy weight on his back, but it was all in vain. His hands were already bleeding, and his blood soaked the dirty muddy water. "Sister! Sister, let go of her, let go of her!" Gan Lin struggled weakly, but he was so weak that he was not even worth mentioning in the face of brute force. What did we do wrong? Licorice quickly calmed down. Although she could not see, she was prepared to use the laws to protect herself. This was the only thing she could do. Before the enemy sealed her mouth, she had to do her best to protect herself, if there was still a possibility of that. We did not break any rules, we have always been law-abiding. Look, how nice you make it sound. The burly man who had pulled her out of the bed mocked her mercilessly. Even an ant will struggle before it dies. His companion replied in disdain. Why don't we listen to what she has to say? Someone else suggested. Although we are commoners, we are also the people of God. We have not committed any crimes, you cannot attack us like this. God's will is mercy. God will not harm us, you cannot go against God's will. Licorice could not see how powerful the enemy in front of her was, so she tried to use the power of the laws to protect herself. So smart, of course we will not go against God's will. However, you are not the target of God's protection, you are the target of God's punishment. We are just punishing you on behalf of God. You have not committed any crimes? Ah, what a joke! Don't you know that all the poor people living here in the garbage dump are sinners? Alright, let's not talk about that. You say you have not committed any crimes. Your younger brother stole something valuable that you could never repay with your entire life. You are his older sister, guilty of instigating and concealing the stolen goods. Now that we have caught you red-handed, you still want to deny it? The burly man who was stepping on her thin back laughed maniacally, pleased with himself. I did not steal anything, I did not. Gan Lin struggled with all her might, screaming non-stop to defend herself. The evidence is clear, how can you, a pair of thief siblings, deny it? The person behind him stomped down heavily, and Gan Lin spat out blood in pain, unable to speak again. You! Licorice now understood that the other party was forcing her to commit a crime. Even if she and her younger brother had 1,000 mouths, they would not be able to defend themselves. The other party was deliberately trying to kill them. We have found the valuable gold necklace, someone in the room shouted. There are also pearl earrings and jade bracelets, all found in this rundown house. Another person came out with an exquisite box wrapped in tattered clothes. What a pair of thief siblings, to actually steal such valuable items. Looks like if we don't put these rampant thieves to death, we won't be able to keep the peace of Nut City in check. The burly man stepped on Licorice slightly. Even though he did not use much strength, for the thin and weak Licorice, it was almost a disaster. Her fragile spine creaked and almost broke. Confess immediately. How did you steal, when did you have the intention, and when did you do it? Someone kicked Gan Lin's face with the tip of his foot, ordering him to confess in front of everyone. The surrounding poor people all understood what was going on. It must have been Gan Lin and her younger brother. They must have offended the rich and powerful, which led to this disaster. As for stealing the gold necklace, no one would believe that it was true, because everyone knew that even if Gan Lin was given the courage of a water jar, he would not dare to steal anything, let alone have the chance to steal such valuable items like pearl earrings and jade bracelets. Gan Lin was just a laborer. Perhaps he had never seen a gold necklace up close in his life, so how would he have the chance to steal? This was clearly the rich and powerful using this as a pretext to harm Gan Lin and his younger brother. Everyone understood. But what was the use of understanding? As poor people, they did not even have the right to speak. If anyone dared to stand up and defend themselves, they would only have one more accomplice of the thief. No, I won't confess, I didn't steal. You're the ones who wrongly accused me. I will never confess, I didn't steal. Gan Lin would rather die than confess. He also knew that once he confessed, he and his sister would definitely die. How stubborn. It's fine if you don't confess, I have plenty of ways to make you confess. The burly man was not surprised. After all, he had done this kind of thing too many times, so he was not surprised at all. It would have been strange if Gan Lin had confessed right away. It was fine if he did not confess. After some physical pain and a false promise that he would not be executed, the other party's willpower would immediately collapse and he would confess. Then, with a little bait, everything that had happened today would be a perfect, ironclad case without any loopholes. We've confessed, but before we confess, I don't understand. Why? Licorice suddenly screamed. We've never offended anyone, why? Why? It's very simple. Young Master Moba wants the stubborn Haug to live like a dog in Nut City, kneeling at young Master Moba's feet all day, and you guys are so reckless as to support him? Let him turn over a new leaf? This is a capital offense. The burly man bent down and whispered in Licorice's ear. His arrogant voice was as natural as a slave owner deciding to execute a few slaves he disliked. Sister, sister. Gan Lin immediately cried when he heard his sister was willing to confess. I didn't steal, I can't confess. I know you didn't steal, I know you're a good child. Licorice suddenly smiled. Her small face that was stained with dirt and sand looked especially sad and beautiful. Her blind eyes seemed to be able to shine. Brother, we have no hope. We'll die whether we confess or not, but it doesn't matter. Haug, he will definitely succeed. He will succeed. He is a person with dreams. No matter how difficult the environment is, it will only hold him back for a while. He will definitely succeed in the future. We will never be able to fulfill our dreams. He will help us fulfill them. Brother, sister asked you to do this, do you regret it? Sister, I'll listen to you, I won't regret it. Gan Lin was trampled hard by the people behind him, causing him to howl in pain, but he shouted with all his might, I won't regret it. Originally, I hoped that he would bring you along after he succeeds, then you wouldn't have to starve anymore, but unfortunately, you don't have this fortune. Licorice also cried like rain. Are these your last words? The burly man looked at the tearful siblings. His heart was as hard as stone and he was not moved at all. Haug will definitely come back. He will definitely avenge us. One day, someone will judge you. You have gone against the will of God. You have destroyed the order set by God. You vermin, one day you will be punished by God. Licorice used all the strength in her life, screaming, Even if we die, don't think of making us bow our heads, we are not in the wrong. Even if you kill us, we are not in the wrong. This is really enlightening. Do any of you think so too? The burly man looked around at the poor people around him, eerily. The poor people hurriedly retreated in fear. A commotion broke out. It was obvious that in the face of power and barbarism, no one could stop them. The poor people only dared to be angry, but did not dare to speak. One by one, they lowered their heads. They did not dare to make eye contact with these powerful people, lest they suffer together with them. The burly man was very satisfied to see this kind of expression of the poor people. He slowly summoned a bronze puppet beast, muttering to himself, Unfortunately, it is too thin, playing with a skeleton, not fun, otherwise I can keep it to play with for a few days. Forget it, I might as well just directly go back and report. Second brother, are you interested in that kid's ass, or I will let you have some fun, maybe it is even more fun than those catamites in young Mao Ba's house. When Gan Lin heard this, he was about to bite his tongue to commit suicide. At some point, Licorice also felt a sharp stone from the ground, used the last of her strength, and smashed it towards her forehead. Play? What the F***ck play? A violent roar came between heaven and earth, like thunder exploding, the entire shacks in the slums trembled, the sound waves more terrible than a passing hurricane. A gold-level lion puppet beast leaped a super long distance of hundreds of meters. The shadow that covered the sky, under the burly man's fearful gaze. It suddenly descended. The giant claw, with just a slap, The burly man and the bronze puppet beast under his feet were like flies, flattened to the ground. The man on the lion's back directly rolled down, smashing into the ground with a loud bang, completely ignoring the dirty sand and smelly water on the ground. He just desperately reached out, the moment when Licorice used the sharp stone to hit his forehead. He firmly grabbed that thin and weak hand, and his other hand immediately grabbed the sharp stone stained with a trace of blood. The sharp stone stained with blood was crushed into powder by the angry hand, and the man, standing like a tiger, let out a thunderous roar towards the sky. "Bastard, how dare you exploit the loopholes of the law to harm civilians? Today, if God does not punish you, then I will represent God to punish you. All of you go to hell, you bastards who are worse than trash." Is it Haug? Someone immediately recognized the man who came down from the lion's back as Haug. How did he come back? Why does he have a golden puppet beast? The burly man's companions were scared out of their wits. Drag them all down. I want to feed my lion king with their meat. Under Haug's order, a few mercenaries riding silver wolves flew over from afar and easily captured the burly man's companions. They dragged them outside the shack to be dealt with. Haug personally helped Gonlin up. He hugged the young man who was bleeding and crying. "Brother, don't be afraid. Follow me in the future. If I, Haug, have a mouthful of food, you will have a mouthful of food. You have no brother, so I'm your brother. In the future, no one can bully you. I promise that as long as I, Haug, still have a breath, no one can bully you, and something like today will never happen again." Gonlin's entire body was trembling. When he heard Haug's excited words, his lips trembled violently and he could not say a word. He just let out a whimper and burst into tears. After Gonlin was slightly comforted, Haug walked in front of Licorice, who was still lying on the ground and could not get up no matter what. Facing this blind girl, he slowly knelt down and 2 streams of hot tears rolled down silently. He stretched out his big hand as if he was holding a porcelain doll, afraid that the other party would shatter if he used any strength. The red-haired Haug had never been so gentle in his life. He gently helped the blind Licorice sit up. Compared to her brother, Licorice was much better at controlling her emotions. Although tears gushed out of her eyes, she still tried her best to squeeze out a smile. "You're back? I knew that you would definitely come back, but I never thought that you would come back so quickly. I can't see with my eyes, but my heart can. I know that you defeated the bad guys. Haug, a person like you will definitely succeed. I knew that you would succeed. This is not my success because of my hard work, but it doesn't matter. You just need to know that I've succeeded. I have a powerful friend. He is as outstanding as a god. When I was at my most desperate, he found me and gave me hope." Haug used his big hand to awkwardly wipe away the blind girl's tears. He then took out a handful of heaven crystals from his storage ring and stuffed them into Licorice's thin and small hand so that she could feel the heaven crystals in her hand. These are heaven crystals. I have money now. Licorice, you and Gonlin will follow me from now on. In the future, we won't have to starve anymore. How is it? Are you happy? I have money now. These are the estimated earnings for my friend's work. I've decided that I can't just accept his gifts without doing anything. I'll work for him. I'm now the chief executive of Star Diamond Castle. I'm in charge of all the mercenaries. I have hundreds and thousands of people under me. In the future, there will be more. I have money to support you and Gonlin. Licorice, are you willing to leave with me? In the past, I didn't have a good character. In my mind, women were just playthings that I could vent my desires on. Then I met you. You are kind. You made me understand what is the most important thing in life, and what is the most precious thing in life. Without you by my side, I might still be a bad person who does evil and brings disaster to others. So, Licorice, can you stay by my side and let me be the Haug I am today? Your eyes can't see, so I'll be your eyes. My heart can't see the future clearly, so use your heart to help me see the future clearly, okay? You are the most important woman I've met so far. Licorice, come with me and give me a definite answer. Let me take care of you for the rest of your life, okay? Haug knelt on the ground. His strong body was like a small hill. He stood in front of the blind girl, who was as weak as a grass, and waited for her answer quietly. Big sister. Gon Lin was incredibly touched. She could not help but shout loudly to remind her big sister. Don't say anything. Licorice waved her hand and stopped Gon Lin. She seemed to be thinking. Her face alternated between smiling and crying, thinking and shaking her head gently. It was as if she had encountered the most difficult problem in life. Promise me, Licorice. I'm sincere. Haug lowered his head for the first time. But I'm blind, and I can die of illness at any time. Licorice's face was filled with struggle and hesitation. I said it just now. I'll be your eyes. And Licorice, I won't let you die. Before I die, I won't let you die. Haug hurriedly expressed his feelings and made a promise. Can I touch your face first? Licorice suddenly reached out her hand, wanting to touch Haug's face. Licorice, I'm not the kind of person you think I am. I look a little. I mean, if you don't mind my looks. This time, it was Haug's turn to be a little hesitant, because he knew what his looks were like. Not to mention Yu Yang, who was so handsome that all the girls on the street had to wear a mask when they went out. Even an ordinary person couldn't compare to him. Haug looked even uglier than many demons. If he were to be judged based on his looks, he would definitely get a negative score. Actually, I've touched it long ago when you were asleep. Licorice suddenly smiled. When you and Gon Lin slept on the cold ground, your snores were as loud as thunder. When I couldn't sleep, I would think, what kind of wanderer would give up the good environment outside and come back to Human Valley to be a commoner? He was obviously a proud and arrogant person, but he could live in our shack, wear the most shabby clothes, eat the worst food, and even save a mouthful for us while he starved himself. What kind of power could support such a man to live such a hard life? Later, I thought, it's dreams. You came back to Human Valley to realize your dreams. So, from that day onwards, I decided that no matter what, I would help you achieve your dreams. Unfortunately, I'm just a weak medicine pot and I'm blind. I can't see anything. Haug, what I can do for you is only that small bag of crystal fragment. I can't help you anymore. What you need is not me, but a woman who can truly help you. I only need you. There are millions of women in the world, but the one who is truly suitable for me, who can help me, is only you. Haug panicked and quickly pulled her hand to his face. If you don't mind my ugly face and won't be scared by it, then can you promise me? I can cure your illness, and I will also beg others to cure your eyes. I will let you see how wonderful this colorful world is. You don't have to beg others. A young man wearing an exquisite silver mask walked out from the crowd and said with a smile, "You can beg me." Really? Haug was wild with joy when he heard this. You flattered me by saying that I'm as excellent as a god. Of course, I have to show some skills that are close to that of a god. Otherwise, how can I be worthy of your flattery? Lady Licorice, the only person you can help and change his fate is Haug alone. And with Haug's ability, the people he can help are a group of mercenaries now. In the future, there will definitely be more people. In other words, your decision is very important. If you agree, then Haug will work for me with peace of mind. Don't you want him to achieve his dreams? The young man wearing the silver mask asked with a smile. My lord, are you the person who can help him achieve his dreams? Hearing this, Licorice's face lit up with joy. Haug said that I'm as excellent as a god and can give hope to others. Haha, although these words are a little flattering, but since he said so, then I will do something practical. Lady Licorice, let me put it this way. Not only can I change Haug's fate, give him hope, and realize his dreams, I can also change your fate, give you hope, and realize your dreams. I can even change the fate of many people, give them hope, and realize their dreams. However, there is one thing that I need the help of a lot of people. Hog, you, your younger brother Gonlin, and many more people. Everyone should join me and use your strength to achieve success faster and better. If you are willing to see the birth of a brand new order, where there will no longer be exploitation and persecution, where there will no longer be poor people like you who are struggling in pain and wanderers like Hog and the others who are in despair, then follow me. I will give you a brand new order. Those fellows who go against the laws of the gods and try their best to exploit loopholes, I guarantee that they will suffer the wrath of the heavens. The young man's words shocked everyone present. My lord! Licorice prostrated on the ground excitedly. Haug's success is my greatest wish in this life. If it can be realized under my lord's leadership, Licorice is willing to work for you together with Haug, even if Licorice is just an insignificant blind girl. Good, then the first order I will give you is to bestow a marriage between you and Haug. After saying this, the young man turned around and walked away confidently. My lord, can you tell me your name? Gonlin had never worshipped someone so much in his life. In his eyes, this young man wearing a silver mask was the incarnation of God. Listen, my lord's name is Noble, and you must be respectful. You can't call him that randomly. But because you are a newcomer, I can tell you. Our lord is the great master of the Star Diamond Castle, and is known as the Baron Titan. The curly-bearded man, Tai Shur, was now one of Yu Yang's guard captains. He was proud and respectful, and would definitely not allow anyone to be disrespectful to Yu Yang. As for Gonlin, he did not answer loudly in front of everyone. Instead, he grabbed Gonlin and whispered the answer in his ear. Yes, yes. Gonlin looked at Yu Yang's back as he left with the wind, and a beautiful feeling of hope arose in his heart. Would he still have to worry about starving if he followed such a master? No, he must follow behind him and change the human valley. He must let more people be like him. Chapter 1088. Tianping Mountain, Ancient Pavilion. This was the center of the human valley where generations of wanderers and elites came to participate in the assessment ceremony. Tianping Mountain, which was tens of thousands of meters high, had a flat and wide main peak, and its top was dozens of square kilometers. Compared to an ordinary city, it was even bigger. If it had to be built that way, then the entire top of Tianping Mountain could accommodate hundreds of thousands of people. Looking from afar, the main peak of Tianping Mountain looked like a huge funnel inserted into the ground. The top of the main peak was extremely flat, and there were hundreds of flowers and green radishes everywhere. It did not look like a cold world high up in the sky, but as beautiful as a spring garden. Other than the main peak of Tianping Mountain, there were actually 4 other peaks. Each was different. The east peak was less than 1/10 the size of the main peak, but it was lush and lush. There were many trees, and there were spirit beasts and life. The west peak was like a desert. The temperature was dry and hot, and there were often strange tornadoes that swept up sandstorms. However, once it went beyond the west peak, it would instantly disappear without a trace. The south peak was like a lake with abundant water, and there were fish and prawns everywhere, so people would not be startled by it. The north peak had several snow-capped peaks, and the wind howled furiously. If the main peak of Tianping Mountain was the place where wanderers and elites gathered and participated in the assessment, then the other 4 peaks were the battlefields. Once inside, anyone could fight it out according to the rules. With that, they could show off their power and win the championship. Tianping Mountain, Ancient Pavilion. This was known as the place closest to the will of the gods in the human valley, and it was also a sacred place respected by all. No matter how arrogant a person was, when they came here, they had to restrain themselves and show their best results to compete for honor. Even people like Ji Wuri were no exception. No one could go against the power of the rules set by the ancient god. This was the only place where the results were assessed. They had to be recognized. Only then could they stand out in the human valley. Usually, there were far less than hundreds of thousands of people living on the ancient pavilion of Tianping Mountain. Even if this place could accommodate more residents, other than the seniors of the Wandering Child Guild and some sage VIPs who were invited to participate in the assessment, no one else dared to come to this sacred place. Of course, every time the assessment ceremony was held, there would be 3 girls in white who would float to the top of Tianping Mountain. No one knew from which era they had existed. With the strength of a divine emissary, even the most senior heaven's chosen president and the 1,000-year-old great sage didn't know about their past. They only knew one thing, and that was that since the beginning of the human valley's history, these 3 white-clothed girls had already appeared in the human valley. Sometimes, they would appear at the entrance of the human valley and talk to some wanderers that they were interested in. They would also arrive punctually at the assessment ceremony that was held once every 3 months. However, most of the time, they wouldn't speak and would only quietly watch from afar. Sometimes they would leave halfway. Unless it was an extremely rare wanderer or an elite character, these 3 divine envoys would only talk to them, inquire about them, or make an assessment. In the human valley, even figures like the president of the prodigy sect and the 1,000-year great sage regarded the 3 of them as the messengers of the gods in the human valley. They are the eyes of God. It represented the gods observing everything in the human valley. Student Titan, this is the ancient pavilion of Tianping Mountain. The building complex directly opposite us is the Heaven's Chosen Academy. The giant statue erected in front of the gate is the founder of the Heaven's Chosen Academy, the Heaven's Chosen Old Man. We can't enter for the time being, because there are still 3 days until the assessment ceremony. We will first stay at the student residence for a few days. The Heaven's Chosen Wandering Academy will provide us with free food, accommodation, and security, so we don't have to worry about the secret of our participation in the assessment being leaked. If you want to stroll around, then try not to go too far. Places like the White Jade Book City and the Black Jade Collection Library should be of interest to you. However, remember one thing, do not ever accept other people's challenge. Once a person accepted a challenge, they would be teleported to one of the 4 peaks to fight it out. Some scoundrels would stay in school for a few more days and become old and mischievous students. They would often challenge others for the sake of glory. There are also some people who are jealous of the virtuous and will secretly play tricks, intending to harm the outstanding students. We have to pay attention to these. The principal personally led Yu Yang's group to the ancient pavilion of Tianping Mountain. In order to let his beloved disciple know the situation as soon as possible, the principal talked non-stop about the situation here to Yu Yang. Yes, I understand. Yu Yang naturally pretended to be a well-behaved student. Actually, I'm not worried about your results. Because, if there are no accidents, you will definitely be the champion of this assessment. The principal lowered his voice and warned Yu Yang in detail. However, treasuring a jade ring is a crime. I don't want you to be schemed against by those with ulterior motives before the assessment results are out. If they prematurely divulge the secret of the flying doll, it will affect your assessment results and your personal safety. Principal, I will definitely not clash with others. Please be at ease. Yu Yang was never a person who was afraid of trouble. If it wasn't for the fact that he still hoped to make use of Zhonghua for a few more days, he would have already acted wantonly like Ji Wuri and Kai Tian Demon Elder, trying to win people's hearts faster. The palace master of the central shrine, Zhonghua, was now the 10th son of the city master of Silver Maple City. Although he wasn't a match for Ji Wuri, but he could still cause some trouble. At least, Zhonghua's actions could divert Ji Wuri's attention, allowing Yu Yang to better hide in the shadows. While they were talking, the teleportation circle behind them suddenly flashed. Coincidentally, another group of people was teleported out from the teleportation circle. Yu Yang recognized the leader. It was Jinkala, the young master of Golden Leaf City, Kinch, who had held the exchange meeting to show off his skills. The current Jinchi, in addition to his identity as the young Castellan, also had the identity of an elite student who was determined to win the championship. With the strong magnetic war avatar, he was full of confidence and felt that he would definitely be able to shine in this assessment ceremony and win the championship with unparalleled honor. Originally, Golden Leaf City was ready to fight for the championship in the previous assessment. But the aggressive Jiwuri was really awesome. Except for Zhonghua and Captain Cook, no one dared to compete with him. Having avoided Jiwuri's Prince of Vengeance, Zhonghua's Jet Beast, and Captain Cook's Ocean Warrior, Kinch had no reason not to believe that he would not succeed in winning the championship. Kinch felt that even if there was a 1 in 10,000 chance of failure, there was no such thing. Except for Jiwuri's Prince of Vengeance, he, who had the magnetic doll, even felt that Zhonghua's Jet Beast and Captain Cook's Ocean Warrior were not as powerful as his King of Blood. Looking around and seeing that no one could compete with him, Kinch naturally felt that the championship was already in the bag and he was safe. Get out of the way. Don't you guys have any self-awareness as the supporting cast? A friend next to Kinch saw the principal and Yu Yang in front of him and immediately waved his hand arrogantly, signaling for Yu Yang to make way. Student Kinch, you seem very confident. Mr. Omeng saw this and could not help but sneer. We should respect our teachers, even if they are not our teachers, even if they are a group of teachers who have worked hard to train their students but have never had a student win the championship in the past 10 years. Remember, we are nobles. Nobility, elegance, and compassion are synonymous with us. Kinch's clever words caused the group of people to burst into laughter. Ah, is that so? Principal Jin Zhong and Mr. Jin Guang, do you think so too? The principal was also secretly angry. No matter what, he was a genius principal of a city. How could he be slapped in the face by a deceitful junior? Ha ha ha, the young master is right to say that we should respect our teachers. It's just that his words are a little too youthful. Young people are always full of vigor. Everything they do and say is so straightforward. Here, I apologize to you on behalf of the young master. I hope that you can be magnanimous and forgive a child. The principal of the Golden Bell was obviously covering up for his student and was apologizing hypocritically. In fact, everyone could tell that he was taunting the other party to show off in front of everyone. After a pause, perhaps he felt that this was not enough, so he added, "Coming to the ancient pavilion to participate in the assessment is the will of God. Naturally, we have to do our best, just like how you are prepared to take out a Saint-Tier goose feather pen to participate in the assessment. We don't have genius students like you, so we can only think of ways to make war dolls. After 10 years of hard research, we finally succeeded in making a magnetic war doll. It's reasonable for little Kinch to be a little happy, just like how you are ecstatic to find a genius student who developed a Saint-Tier goose feather pen. Congratulations to all of you. The Creativity Award for this year's competition will definitely go to you. A Saint-Tier goose feather pen is really amazing." Mr. Jin Guang followed up with a sarcastic remark. "It seems that I have to take a good look at the assessment." Kinch looked at Yu Yang with a face full of contempt, full of provocation. Ahahaha! The people on Kinch's side burst into unbridled laughter, getting carried away. The principal and Mr. Omeng were burning with anger. Their faces were livid. As principals and teachers, they naturally knew about the little tricks of Golden Leaf City. Kinch clearly did not develop the ability of the magnetic war doll. It was just a false reputation that was forcefully pressed on his head. It's fine if you guys secretly covered it up, but how dare you use such a fake thing to attack the real genius invention? Suppressing the real outstanding students? Seeing the group of people from Golden Leaf City leave arrogantly, the principal suppressed his anger and reached out to pat Yu Yang's shoulder. "Little Titan, don't be affected by these trash opponents. Be yourself. It won't be long before you realize that you're standing at the top, and these clowns aren't even ants under your feet. These people are not worth getting angry at. Our opponents are not them. Our opponents are time. As long as we win time, no one in Human Valley will be able to stop you from spreading your wings and soaring. Mr. Omeng clenched his fist tightly and made up his mind. In this assessment, not only did he have to win the championship, he had to win beautifully. Even if he had to expose a little more of his strength, it was still worth it. I definitely can't let these wriggling worms spray poison on Student Titan's body. Student Titan is far more noble than the battle puppet master's father. A person like him definitely can't be offended by such a despicable person. No, this is simply an unforgivable blasphemy. Chapter 1089. Zhonghua, who had rushed over to set up the arrangements, had just received the news and rushed out with the black-bearded old man and a few other nobles of Silver Maple City to welcome him. He had seen this scene from afar. He had wanted to make a move and take down the arrogant Kinch. But on second thought, it would be better for Student Titan to take revenge on this kind of shameless person. Hence, he let him go for now. He was afraid that Yu Yang, the Eastern Hidden Clan disciple, would be angered by this, so he immediately comforted him. Kinch is just a clown. Don't let him be complacent for a few days. We will only know who the champion will be during the competition. Brother Titan, if you can slightly transfer the creativity of the holy ranked goose feather pen to the battle dolls or puppet beasts, Kinch wouldn't even be fit to carry your shoes. Who does he think he is? Zhonghua definitely had the right to look down on Kinch. Furthermore, he didn't think that the holy ranked goose feather pen was a weak research project. That was a holy ranked treasure, who had the ability to directly create a holy ranked treasure with consciousness. Moreover, it was on a goose feather pen. Did he really think it was that simple? If he thought deeper, as the owner of the Star Diamond Castle, Student Titan could develop a holy ranked goose feather pen now. Then, would he be able to develop a holy ranked battle dolls in the future? Who would dare to say that he couldn't? He who could turn a goose feather pen into a holy ranked treasure was someone that people like Kinch could laugh at? Perhaps even that arrogant Ji Worry would be secretly shocked if he heard about this. It's all right. I've seen too many of these kinds of people. Yu Yang waved his hand, indicating that he didn't mind. Revenge must be taken, face slapped, but there was no need to say it publicly. He could just do it directly in the future. If Brother Titan needs me, I, Zhonghua, am willing to do my best to help Brother Titan develop battle dolls. Zhonghua spared no effort to rope in Yu Yang, the descendant of the Celestial clan. Thank you in advance. I will definitely give everyone a pleasant surprise when I start researching battle puppets. Yu Yang's calm expression and answer made Zhonghua ecstatic. Sure enough, as a descendant of the Eastern Immortal tribe, how could he only develop a holy quill? He just hadn't started using his full strength yet. Don't think that he's easy to bully. Although the evaluation had not arrived yet, Zhonghua could foresee that Kinch would definitely suffer a tragedy. Moreover, they would definitely lose miserably in this evaluation. In order to please Yu Yang, Zhonghua told him that Wan Mo and Burning Wind had postponed their participation in this year's competition. The principal was slightly startled when he heard this. He immediately thanked Zhonghua sincerely, feeling that this was really timely information. Yu Yang also expressed his gratitude. Actually, he had already obtained 10 times more detailed information from Mingzhu Prince. Moreover, he would not be grateful to a person like Zhonghua. On the surface, there was no lack of courtesy. Yu Yang used the excuse that he needed to think of a countermeasure to get rid of Zhonghua's entanglement with great difficulty. With regards to Wan Mo and Burning Wind, the principal and teacher Omeng felt a little pressured. After all, they were extremely powerful wanderers on the same level as Ji Worry, Zhonghua and the others. They definitely could not be underestimated. They secretly rejoiced that student Tai Tan had not only developed the first generation of flying dolls, but also the third generation of flying dolls. Moreover, the biggest advantage was that with the hard work of all the teachers in the school, they had already completed the first assault-type flying dolls. With it, no matter how strong Mo and Burning Wind's war dolls were, they could still establish an invincible position. Moreover, Mo and Burning Wind's sneak attack was not without its benefits. At least it could sweep away many obstacles for student Tai Tan to win the championship. For example, if Kinch, who claimed to have developed the assault-type magnetic war dolls, encountered Mo and Burning Wind's flesh war dolls and inferno war dolls, who knew what expression he would have when he encountered Mo and Burning Wind's flesh war dolls and inferno war dolls. Not long after entering the student residence, Mingzhu Prince also came to meet up. As for Chi-Mu, Mingzhu Prince said that he was lustful and forgot his friends. He was still surrounded by many beauties, and could not find the time to escape. It was estimated that he would have to wait at least 3 days for the official evaluation. Only then would he be able to rush over. Yu Yang did not care whether Chi-Mu came or not. As long as Mingzhu Prince came, it would be fine. It would be best if Chi-Mu did not come. Of course, he could not say this in front of Mingzhu Prince. Otherwise, he would be corrected by the golden sledgehammer. Yu Yang pretended to be a good student and brought Mingzhu Prince to see the principal. He expressed that he wanted to go to the White Jade Book City with Mingzhu Prince and ask for a short leave. The principal naturally agreed. Moreover, with Mingzhu Prince accompanying him, he seemed to be especially at ease. After asking Mingzhu Prince a few questions about his old friends in the Gem Valley, the principal even smiled and handed Yu Yang a crystal card. There were 200 heaven crystals on the card. He said that it was for Yu Yang and Mingzhu Prince to eat and shop together as pocket money. Principal, you are really the best principal. Mingzhu Prince snatched the crystal card from Yu Yang's hand, expressing that he would personally be in charge of the finances. You are too stingy. You can't bear to buy things, and you are not good at managing money. You only earn money but you don't spend it. You are still asking for more. Yu Yang did not agree. Idiot, who is as extravagant as you, spending 1,000 heaven crystals in a day. Mingzhu Prince was determined not to give it to him. I am buying materials. Yu Yang naturally had his reasons. Now is not the time to buy materials, so I will manage the money. Mingzhu Prince's insistence even received the support of the principal. He smiled and persuaded Yu Yang. Little Titan, it is a good thing to have someone managing the money. Just let Mingzhu Prince manage the money for you. When you grow to my age, you will understand that having someone by your side to take care of everything is actually the greatest happiness in life. I don't understand. Yu Yang was good at pretending to be confused, looking like a fool. Ha, silly boy, go. Don't be reluctant to spend money. If you see something you want to buy or eat, just use it as long as you are happy. Go, young people can't always stay at home doing research. Other than having your own career, you also need to have a life. Even though the assessment is approaching, it is still necessary to strike a balance between work and rest. It is still necessary to relax. Go, go. It was as if the principal saw his children and grandchildren fooling around on his knees. He was no longer strict, and the gloominess from being provoked was swept away. As he watched Yu Yang and Mingzhu Prince bicker, his gaze was filled with love. When they walked out of the student residence, Mingzhu Prince happily pulled Yu Yang to walk around. There were dozens of buildings at the top of Tianping Mountain. Compared to a normal city, the functions were much more complete. It was just that there were too few people maintaining the ancient buildings. When they walked on the empty streets, they could not see a single person even after a long time had passed. But Mingzhu Prince did not mind at all. He pulled Yu Yang to visit the ancient buildings and ancient sculptures that were rarely visited by people. As for the few taverns and luxurious clubs that had become slightly more lively because of the wanderer's assessment, they were not too interested. In fact, they were not too interested. After playing for a long time, it was only when the sky gradually darkened that they returned. Along the way, he was still quarreling with Yu Yang, as if they were natural enemies. However, there was a smile on his face which was really strange. "I'm hungry, let's find a place to eat." Yu Yang rubbed his stomach, indicating that he could not wait to return to the student residence to eat. Furthermore, it was so late, the student residence would definitely not leave any food for him. "You only know how to eat." Mingzhu Prince gave him a supercilious look. If it was someone else who rolled their eyes, it would definitely be very unsightly. However, Mingzhu Prince was different. That pair of bright eyes that gathered the spiritual qi of heaven and earth, when he made that kind of action, not only did he not look unsightly, he actually looked extremely alluring. Yu Yang could not help but be stunned when he saw it, and his footsteps also stopped. "You're in a daze again. Let's go, you silly goose." Mingzhu Prince seemed to be very angry towards Yu Yang's reaction, but also seemed to be very happy. It was very contradictory. "If you call me silly goose again, I'll cut off all ties with you." Yu Yang was very angry. "If you don't want to call me that, then don't call me that. Who cares? Let's go in and eat. Other than knowing how to eat, what else do you know?" Mingzhu Prince pulled Yu Yang, and entered a relatively clean tavern. Just by looking at the name, one could tell that it was the Heaven's Pride Tavern. The tavern here was actually not opened by merchants, but by the members of the Heaven's Pride Wanderer Association. It was also not like normal taverns that provided all kinds of services. Here, there was only one thing provided, and that was food. If customers wanted alcohol, they had to be adults to be eligible to buy it. Those who were below 18 years of age were not sold. For example, the young-looking Yu Yang asked the waiter for his age. "What kind of look is that? Mingzhu looks even younger than me, why didn't you ask?" Yu Yang protested seriously, to the extent that it was like the Chinese Empire protesting against being bullied by foreigners. "I already drank here last time." Mingzhu Prince was very happy to see Yu Yang's defeated look. "Isn't it good to look young?" Yu Yang was very depressed. Being young, from a certain point of view, is a sign of immaturity. Naturally, it's not 100% good thing. Mingzhu Prince gave him a small blow. "It's still better than being old and ugly." "Oh right, I forgot to ask, how old are you this year?" Yu Yang suddenly became interested in Mingzhu Prince's age. He thought that he would get an answer when he asked this question, but who knew that Mingzhu Prince spread his hands, indicating that it was a secret. "Anyway, I'm older than you." Under the pressure, Mingzhu Prince gave an extremely vague answer. "Don't tell me that you want me to call you Big Brother with your small physique and appearance? I'm definitely older than you, so you have to call me Big Brother." Yu Yang was determined not to comply. "How can you be so sure that you're older than me?" Mingzhu Prince didn't know where this brat got his confidence from. "Why don't we compare who's older when we go to pee later?" "I'm definitely older than you," Yu Yang said firmly. Young Master Mingzhu was dumbfounded for 3 seconds. It took him a lot of effort to react, but when he saw Yu Yang's "I'm bigger than you" expression, he immediately became angry. He turned hostile on the spot and almost took out his golden hammer. Fortunately, Yu Yang grabbed his hands tightly, preventing the destructive strike from happening. Mingzhu Prince's eyes were burning with anger. He stared at Yu Yang's eyes and scolded in a low voice. "Who wants to compete with you? If you talk nonsense again, I'll really be angry? No, you have to apologize and say that you won't make me angry anymore. Hurry up." "I understand you. You feel a little inferior because you're too small there, but it's okay. What's my relationship with you? We're close brothers. When I'm free, I'll teach you a few techniques. This way, your battle power will increase by a lot." Yu Yang put his big hands on Mingzhu Prince's shoulders, showing a sincere attitude of, "I'm your big brother, I'll protect you. Thanks, keep your perverted techniques for yourself." Mingzhu Prince really wanted to pour a glass of wine into this brat's nose. "You're really an idiot. Who am I to you? We're brothers, why would I keep my techniques for myself? I'll definitely pass them on to you." Yu Yang patted Mingzhu Prince's shoulders and laughed mysteriously. "Based on your reaction, I think you're not considered small. You're just a virgin. You haven't experienced that kind of thing, so you don't know what it's like to be a woman. This means that after you've experienced that kind of feeling, you'll fall in love with that kind of feeling. Furthermore, you won't feel inferior anymore. Maybe you're not small at all. Next time I'll bathe with you, I'll show you. I'll also show you mine, and we can compare." Yu Yang expressed that he was extremely concerned about Mingzhu Prince's physical and mental health, and was willing to learn from each other. "Aren't you hungry? Don't talk while eating, don't talk while sleeping." Mingzhu Prince was almost angered to death by this brat. "I'm just helping you out of goodwill." Yu Yang felt wronged, as if his goodwill had been struck by lightning. "I know, you're so long-winded." Mingzhu Prince took a deep breath and exhaled. With great difficulty, he managed to suppress his anger, not wanting to linger on this topic for too long. Outside the bar, there was a 3-meter-tall giant man with red hair. He brought along a girl with bandages around her eyes and a boy who was looking around nervously, afraid that someone would criticize him. In front of him, there were 2 people walking towards him. Although they were dressed in ordinary clothes and only had mercenary badges on them, they had an extraordinary bearing. One was like a king of the world, and the other was like a great sage with wisdom as deep as the sea. On another street, there was a man dressed in black sitting under a pine tree. He was masked, tall and skinny. His gaze was as sharp as daggers. Surrounded by a large group of students, young City Master Kinch, who was the most popular candidate for the championship this year, was like a dead man in the eyes of this masked man, or a piece of pork on the chopping board. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.